And welcome back everyone, welcome back everyone to another week, another edition of the OSC King of the Hill number 150. I'm of course your host VIP, and with me I'm joined by the lovely people in the chat and by a massive raid as well. Thank you so much to Wardy. Hope you guys enjoyed ESL Open Cup Asia. I know that was just going on just before this event, and usually we also cast it. Usually we also cast it here on the CranKy Ducklings. Unfortunately, this week we had an issue patching on Korea. I started downloading the patch like an hour before the event, an hour before ESL Asia, and I couldn't download it in time. It feels Aussie internet, man. Feels Aussie internet, but I couldn't download in time, and by the time I could finish downloading it, the event would be like almost wrapping up, and I have to get ready for OSC King of the Hill, and it wasn't worth it. So unfortunately, we missed out on ESL Open Cup Asia. Unfortunately, we weren't able to cover it, but you know, shout out to Wardy, shout out to Steadfast, shout out to Chicken Man as well. All of you guys for casting that in English, as we are live with OSC King of the Hill. This is an event that is typically covered by Wardy as well. I think we kind of alternate, you know, sometimes it's here on the CranKy Ducklings, sometimes it's on Wardy's channel. If you are unfamiliar, this event is a King of the Hill style tournament. The way that works is that we have one player, we have the king of said hill, and we have a line of best of ones lined up for him, and if you win, you dethrone him. If you lose, next challenger steps up to the plate, next challenger steps up to face off against ByuN in this case, as ByuN is the reigning King of the Hill. Last week in the 149th edition, ByuN was able to stay on top, was able to take down players like Christiana, Mixu, and Nicoract, and no one could step up, no one could bring him down. He's on a three-game win streak, and now he's going to be looking to face off against another player at the start of the night. I believe we have 15 best of ones, 15 best of ones, or 15 players, 14 I guess players technically, lined up to face off against ByuN, and we'll see if anyone can bring him down. For those wondering the way that you participate in this event, you do have to be a member of OSC Elite. It is a service, or it is a kind of a club, a subscription-based service that the players do sign up for, and you gain access to events like OSC King of the Hill, OSC Masters Cups, and of course the playoffs as well at the end of the year. As well as other benefits, of course. And there are some big names. There are players like MaxPax, players like Special, players like Skilless, Spirit. There's some big names, Solar as well, Dark when it comes to the Koreans. There are some big names that are part of OSC Elite, and we'll see if anyone can bring down a player of the caliber of ByuN, as we have a challenger. We finally have a player. It is going to be ByuN versus Nice in the TVP. Oh, let's go, Bobby. Let's go. Oh my god, I forgot. And as a reminder, this is going to be played on the new patch. Yes, it is all on the new patch, but a very interesting map pool. For those wondering, the OSC events have a custom map pool where they actually have some of the ladder maps, yes, but they also have some older maps that are brought in. You know, in the past, we've had maps like Jagannatha, maps like Lightshade. Currently, I believe the new maps, or the extended map pool, is Cosmic Sapphire, Calliope, and this one here, Moondance. Oh, it's been a while. It has been a long time since we've casted a map on this. Oh, sorry, casted a game on this map, and here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Moondance, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Taiwanese Protoss player representing Starlight Twinkle. It is Nice. Nice. Here we go. So again, this is on the new patch, but the map pool for this tournament specifically is a little bit different. Again, we have some of the more recent maps and some older maps as well, and Moondance being one of them. I believe this map, if I remember correctly, was active back in the 2021-2020 circa of StarCraft. A couple of years ago at this point, you know, kind of the beginning of COVID era of StarCraft. It has been a while, and this was a very divisive map as well. It's a map that has a pocket base, and I remember it was the first time in a long time that we had a pocket base. Fun fact, we actually have a pocket base map in the current ladder map pool as well, the new one that was launched a couple of days ago. So I guess we could better get used to it. I also remember one of the strongest memories when it comes to moon dance, whenever I think about dancing in the moonlight, of course, is Proxy Void Ray. Proxy, many times I remember Trigger, I remember some of the other Protoss players like Estrella as well, just flaunting Proxy Void Ray in the natural base, especially in the TVP matchup. It was disgusting. And yo, shout out to ByuN Sheki. I love this. ByuN is checking his natural just in case. Again, he remembers ByuN was active back in the day, and it was very common to proxy here in this base location, in this pocket base, so ByuN is aware of that and does check. Meanwhile, of course, it is going to be an economic opener. It's going to be a Rax Expand, only a single gas opener here from ByuN, so again, very economic out of our Terran player. Likewise, from our Protoss, going for a Cyber Expand. Nothing too fancy so far, but now we have our first deviation. Nice, his tech of choice here is going to be a Stargate opener from our Taiwanese Protoss. Of course, with this, we can start getting into Phoenixes, we can head towards Oracles. The other, oh my god! This is the other thing you could do, as I was about to talk about the opener and what Stargate openers can really mean and what it allows for the Protoss in PvT. Nah, mate, before that happens, ByuN going for a third CC before Factory. Very greedy opener here by ByuN, but this is also something that used to be prevalent on Moondance, is Terran players and even Protoss players as well being hyper greedy, just taking this pocket base as quickly as possible, and this is disgusting. Giga fast third base here from ByuN. Now again, this base isn't as valuable as a regular base. There's only one gas geyser, bear that in mind, so it's not as useful to Protoss and Terran, or specifically to Protoss, just because Protoss can be very gas intensive, but you do gain plenty of minerals from this base as well. And from here, we are getting into a 3 Rax follow-up by ByuN. So 3 CC. I said it was a third CC before Factory, which is technically true, but it was a third CC into 3 Rax. My god. Behind this, a nice Sid open up, of course, with a Stargate into Phoenix. Phoenix is going to be getting a full scout, does get eyes on the timing of the third TC, as well as the 3X as well, so Nice is fully aware of what's going on, and back at home he is preparing. He's throwing down additional gateways. He himself can take a fast third base as well, and it looks like he's preparing for that to be the case, to take a very safe third base. And this is why I was, of course as a Zerg player, I wasn't too fond of Moondance. Because of this pocket base, it means that you can turtle up quite nicely, you can defend and get basically a free third base. And this did lead into fast sky toss back in the day. But before that happens, ByuN, he's here. Very surprising move out here by ByuN. It looks like he's going to take things slow and steady. ByuN doesn't even have stim. That's why this is just a really early, really awkward move out. ByuN maybe hoping to catch Nice off guard, but Nice is ready. He has a shield battery, has some gateway units, and ByuN does back off. Phoenix is still alive. What's interesting to me is that we have stopped Phoenix production. We're now getting into a second, but we delayed Phoenixes for a long time, getting to a faster third base, taking up even further towards a robo, towards a robotics bay. Nice, maybe being a little bit too greedy, and he may be caught with his pants down. This is his army. We've got 1 Phoenix, 3 Adepts, and then overcharge. Like, that is all we have to defend. And ByuN is here. Stim still isn't quite done, but this is a scary moment for Nice. But here we go. A sentry is warped in. We do have a force field available here for this ramp, for this entryway. Stim still going to finish up in a couple of seconds. Before that does hit, ByuN already doing a lot of damage here to this wall. Oh, it does force the overcharge. And again, we still have not stimmed. Bearing in mind, because of this 3Rax opener, every stim counts. And really, we have like 1, maybe 2 stims available with this army because we do not have medevacs here to support. We don't have medevacs to regenerate the energy or the health on these Marines. And there we go. We do stim. 1 Adept goes down, but only a singular Adept. It looks like ByuN has recognized they cannot break this position. We have the first Colossus on the way, and ByuN is going to back off. And again, this is the power of Moondance. Because this entryway is so narrow, because you get a free third, Nice is getting away with a lot. This opener from ByuN hasn't done much, but what I will say is that thankfully ByuN did keep his Marines alive. Despite the 3 racks and despite it not really doing much, I think he killed, 1 Adept. 1 Adept has gone down this game. Despite that, he preserves his units, and they will be able to live to fight another day, to hit a later timing as we're working towards +1 combat shields and even concussive shell. And the first medevacs have arrived, which means we can be a little bit more free with our stims. We can utilize them a little bit better here. as we are going to be heading towards that potentially even pocket base. We have options here. Do have the options. As for now, nice. He's just mustering up his defenses back at that natural. Second Colossus is on the way. Do see ByuN threatening a drop into that pocket. Does scan ahead of time. Does notice that that Colossus is missing. Colossus is waiting in the main, but alas, we do drop into the natural, or into the pocket base, third. Yeah. And there we go, reduced to 1 forward. Shield battery is going to be going down. That one Colossus is going to have a hard time engaging. We do deny a lot of mining time at the same time. ByuN's main army is going to be threatening that natural base. Oh, and nice. Will clean this up. We do have a drop into the main, trying to get a couple more worker kills. Overcharge is popped. So far, Nice is doing a good job defending. Did I speak too soon? I did not. The Phoenixes, they shut down the drop. And the handful of Marines make it out. The Colossus stands strong, and ByuN cannot break Nice. He tried. He did try it. Oh, actually, never mind. These 2 Marines. I think it was 4 Marines in total, but my god, they've done a lot of damage. 12 workers go down. Not bad here. Not what ByuN wanted, but not bad at all here to basically almost get an entire mineral line. 12 workers go down. And ByuN is not done. He's going for a Widowmine drop behind this. The main army getting ready for any kind of counterattack. And ByuN is taking his 4th base on location. But what I will say, even though Nice did take a blow to his economy, his army is still looking very solid. He's up to 3 Colossus. Now he can start working on, I was going to say disruptors. He throws down a 2nd Stargate. And he starts +1 air. I mentioned Skytoss earlier. Are we really going to transition to something like a fleet beacon? We'll see. As now ByuN going to be threatening that 4th base. I almost said 3rd. Threatening that 4th base. Force field is thrown down. At the same time, drop was attempted. But alas, it looks like ByuN is going to rotate back around, trying to avoid those Phoenixes. So the mines are thrown down at every attack path. And again, clearly Nice again. He's taking the role of the defender. He's trying to keep up here with the drop play of ByuN. Phoenix is rotating over towards that pocket base, and they will catch the drop. At the same time, ByuN does stim up the ramp, and he will lay siege on this 4th base. Shield battery goes down. Good EMPs. Up. He's not looking. Nice. He will lose 1 Colossus. He loses his entire army as well. His ground army, I should say. Oh, and Nice just doesn't have enough buffer. Doesn't have enough to support his Colossus. 3 of them go down, and there's only 1 left. Nice was doing such a great job, but again, maybe just wasn't paying attention at the time. Lost every single Colossus, and ByuN has barely broken him. Now the 4th base will fall. If we want to, we could even keep on pushing. A lot of these Phoenixes have gone down, and GG gets called. ByuN takes game number 1. GG. He takes down Nice, and ByuN remains our king of the hill. GG. Well played. Oh boy, again, it was pretty close, I would say. Close in the sense that Nice, he was doing a great job keeping up with ByuN, defending his bases. It was just towards the very end there where ByuN was able to pull apart at least all the Phoenixes, and we saw that maybe we were lacking a warp in, or again, Nice, he was paying attention to the drop, not so much with his army, and his Colossus were left a little bit vulnerable, and, you know, one sign of vulnerability is all it takes for ByuN to just stim on forward, dive on your army, and things very quickly escalate out of control. Once 1 Colossus fell, so did another, and then suddenly the Protoss army was gone. It's kind of, the defense was on a knife's edge basically, and you know, once the dominoes started falling, that was it. GG, well played. ByuN does take the game, and who is going to be coming up next? Who is our next challenger? Oh, as we have one. It is not going to be a Protoss player. This time it's going to be a Zerg. Here we go. We will have a Zerg opponent, and as Nice falls, another rises here to the challenge. Who can bring down ByuN? Up next, it is going to be Papa DIMAGA. Let's go. Big DIMAGA fans on this channel. Again, we followed him throughout his entire WTL run in the last season of World Team League, and we were so impressed by how well DIMAGA was performing. Likewise, DIMAGA also plays in a lot of our tournaments here on the CranKy Ducklings. Always appreciate DIMAGA, as he is one of our regulars in the Sparkling Tuna Cup, for example. And yeah, even though on paper, of course, ByuN is still, I mean, let's be real here. ByuN is the favorite player against almost anyone. You know, it's going to be an uphill battle, but I want to believe that Papa DIMAGA, with his experience, with his age, with his wisdom, can overcome ByuN. As a reminder, this is a best of one. Best of one, not a best of 5 or a best of 3. In a best of 1, anything can happen. Anything, Poppy. Let's go. Getting ready. Oh my, and we have our next map. Let me just double check something. Are we using the new Apple? Oh, we are. Oh, let's go. We are. Beautiful. We're gonna be loading into Oceanborn. Oh boy, we're gonna be taking a dip under the sea. Again, even though the map layout is very different, I just, every single time I see an underwater map, I think of Abyssal Reef. Way back when, Abyssal Reef, it feels like, was like one of the more iconic underwater maps, just because I think we had it for so long. I think we had it for like a year. It was in the map pool for a very long time. The nostalgia, puppy, the nostalgia. But here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have the Ukrainian Zerg player representing Berserker Esports. It is DIMAGA. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player, the current King of the Hill, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. He's already claimed his first victim in Nice, but again, you know, that previous game was very unique to the map. You know, what we saw on Moondance, we're not going to see on another map, and I mean, this is a different matchup anyway, but you know, despite that, I think that's what I really appreciated about game 1, about ByuN versus Nice, is that both players were taking full advantage of the map, of Moondance itself, you know, taking advantage of the goal base, sorry, not the goal base, of the pocket base, and yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun. Speaking of ByuN doing ByuN things, of course, going for the low ground at 2 ranks opener, has been very fond of this, and has been quite an advocate of this opener over the past year, almost year, maybe past 8 months at this point. For almost the entire year, ByuN has been doing this in every single TVZ, and he does have different variations of this, which is why I'm always so fascinated by what ByuN brings to the table. We could be seeing a 3 racks Master Reaper, we could be seeing a 2 racks into a 3cc 2-on-1, could be seeing a 4 racks follow-up as well. There are just so many, again, deviations and variations of this opener, and that's what makes ByuN terrifying to play up against. And I wonder how familiar DIMAGA is with this. For now, it's going to be a hatch gas pool opener here from DIMAGA, so very standard opener here from our Zerg player. Nothing too crazy, nothing out of the norm. My eyes are really on ByuN. It looks like he is only going to be going for his initial Reapers. We already have the add-on transition on the way. CC should be behind this momentarily. There we go. We have that expansion. So the way this works is that with your initial Reapers, you're going to be having a lot of map control. Interesting. ByuN cutting corners. I did take note that this first add-on was very early. ByuN, so typically you go for 3 Reapers. You you gain map control, you threaten the mirror light. Oh, 1 drone already goes down. More damage than should be really happening. But he almost gets a 2nd drone. Oh, does get a 2nd drone in the end. This is a bit too much. So what I was getting at is that typically you make 3 Reapers, you gain map control, you contain your opponent, and you delay the 3rd. You delay the 3rd of the Zerg player for as long as you can. But ByuN has been cutting corners. He went for that reactor much faster. Even before that command center, we have a 3rd Rax on the way. So this is, again, a very greedy opener from ByuN because he's cutting corners. With only 2 Reapers, DIMAGA could have taken his 3rd. He could have taken his 3rd base, but DIMAGA went for the standard reaction, and ByuN is doing so much with so little. Oh, takes down, not quite, he wants it. Oh, A little bit greedy there by ByuN. He does pay the price. We'll lose 1 Reaper for that Creep Tumor, but regardless, he got 2 drones, a Ling, 2 Creep Tumors. Pretty worth 1 Reaper. And now the question becomes, DIMAGA, what do we do here to retaliate? How do we come back? Typically, as a Zerg player, we double expand. You take the 3rd and the 4th base. Because this 3rd is so late, we need to make up for it with a 4th as well. Meanwhile, the Lings go for a counterattack with a wall is a wall. The final Reaper will go down. And we get a couple of Marines. It's an okay trade. 9 Lings for 2 Marines. Not the best trade, to be honest. As ByuN is following it up here with a 3-Rax. Now, this 3-Rax follow-up, it isn't too committed. Not like a 4-Rax, for example. This is going to move out. We're going to be hitting with Stim. Very similar to the previous game. There won't be any medevacs, so every Stim matters. Every Stim counts, and ByuN has to be very conservative with them. But this is designed to move out, catch Overlords, deny creep. This doesn't have to do economic damage. This doesn't have to break the 3rd base. This is just, again, designed to apply pressure, force a reaction, force DIMAGA to make units. If DIMAGA, as he bleeds out a lot of Lings. Obviously, if DIMAGA doesn't respect this, DIMAGA could die. But for the most part, DIMAGA, he sees this coming ahead of time. He should be preparing back at home. This isn't designed to kill. This is designed to, just force a reaction. Here we go. We do have a Bailey Nest on the way for DIMAGA. We have Lings in production as well. Stim is done, and I'm a little bit concerned. How many queens do we have? 6 queens. Oh, not ideal. 6 queens, 18 Lings in production. This is going to be a tight hold for DIMAGA. As we stim on forward, 1 queen goes down already. Oh, the Lings are not ready yet, and 2 queens, 3 queens. This is too much damage. This may just be the end of the game. The Lings are too little too late, and DIMAGA bled out too many Lings across the map. He needed them to survive against this push, and this army here, these reinforcements, they're too late. The damage has been done. As ByuN has already done so much. He may even get the hatchery as well. We do have a couple of reinforcements trickling on in as well. And DIMAGA will clean this up. But again, ByuN wasn't all in. He's got a starport, a factory behind this, additional upgrades. No 3rd CC, so the follow-up is very committed. But, ByuN, he's good to go. He already has a secondary army. Like, that did more than it really should have. And now, DIMAGA's in a really rough position. DIMAGA, he's behind in workers. He's behind economically. He's on an... he's ahead in bases, I guess, technically. But really, that's, what we expect to be seeing here in ZVT. DIMAGA is working on his lair. Behind this, he should be working on Baneling speed. No Evo chambers, no upgrades, and ooh, ByuN, he doubles down by throwing down 2 more Raxes, but there it is. A 3rd CC is thrown down behind this. So here comes wave 2. And again, ByuN, he's macroing up. He's looking for a later game. With this medevac, he can have more sustainability here with this army, as the tank is going to be joining the fray. And how many queens do we have? We're down to 4 queens. Basically, 1 queen for each base just to inject. Which means we don't have enough energy for transfuse. We have not been banking up energy. We do have some Ling Bane, but Baneling speed is not done. And remember, the Banelings, they were nerfed. They are now easier to focus down. And the Banelings, they melt. The Lings are going to go down as well. And this second push from ByuN is going to end the game. GG gets called. And ByuN will take down his next challenger. GG. ByuN will remain the king of the hill. GG. Well played. A solid game there. Very textbook ZVT from ByuN, or TVZ from ByuN, when it comes to his playstyle, I should say. Very marine heavy, very bio heavy, very aggressive. Yeah, just really well executed. And DIMAGA, he had a really rough start from the get-go. Not just when it came to him losing workers, but also the fact that ByuN was cutting corners. He only made 2 Reapers. He went into a faster reactor, faster add-ons. Like, that was wild what ByuN was doing. And I'm sure also because of the faster reactors and the faster Marines, that maybe that hit a little bit sooner than DIMAGA was really expecting. So he just didn't quite have enough to defend against the first push. And the first push really just laid it all up for the second push to end the game. Just really well executed by ByuN. Really solid play. GG. And with that, oh boy, ByuN now has 2 wins under his belt. Who's next? Who is next? As we have our next opponents, ByuN, of course, has 2 wins under his belt, as I guess technically 5, because he got 3 wins last week. And his next opponent, his next challenger, we've already had a Protoss, we've had a Zerg. It's not working. You know, we need another race. We need a Terran. But this isn't just any Terran. This is going to get wild. It's going to be the most honorable of monorables. It is HonMonO. Oh boy. HonMonO, the South Korean Terran player living in the land of the rising sun, living in Japan. HonMonO, we feature him a lot on this channel. He, of course, plays in our regional tournaments. For those that are tuning in from Wardy's stream and maybe are unfamiliar with the CranKy Ducklings, we host a lot of our own weeklies, and one of them is a regional weekly, region locked to Southeast Asia and Oceania. And Japan does fall under that, so HonMonO does compete in our events quite regularly, you know, alongside Nice and Miyamika and Demi and you know, all those players. And yeah, he has become a bit of a fan favorite in our channel. He's an animal, don't don't get me wrong. He's one of the I say one of, he's probably the cheesiest player in Korea, actually. I think I would go as far as to say that. At least the cheesiest Terran player in Korea. He's very aggressive, and as we get into our next game, a shout out to Steadfast. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Hope you had a great cast, I should say. I know that's likewise, just like Wardy, just like Chicken Man, Steadfast was also casting and covering ESL Open Cup Asia. Hope you guys had a great time. Thank you for the raid. And good luck as well. Best of luck. I know Steadfast is one of the few English community casters out there that actually casts all 3 ESL Open Cups, not just Asia, but also Europe and NA. So rest up and good luck for your European broadcast. Good luck, man. Good luck. Here on the CranKy Ducklings, we only do 2. We only do Asia and NA. We don't do Europe just because I think Europe starts at like 4 a.m. for me. Like it would be nice to sleep. If I would, I could, but I have to sleep at some point. So we don't get to cover ESL Open Cup Europe. But best of luck, Steadfast. Best of luck, and thank you, Papi, thank you. As we get into our next game, and here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire. Oh, once again, one of the older maps. It's been a while, Papi. It's been a while. In the top left, in Cosmic Sapphire, we have the South Korean Terran player living in the land of Japan, representing clan CranKy, not CranKy. It is HonMonO. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the current King of the Hill with 2 wins under his belt, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. Here we go. For some context as well, we have our pro team, of course, here on the CranKy Ducklings. And our clan tag is CRNKY. HonMonO, he's been asking to join the CranKy Ducklings for a while, and I've been turning him down. So he's joined his own version of the CranKy Ducklings, the CranKy Ducklings. I'm shaking my head. Shaking my head. But regardless, we have entered our TVT, and interesting, HonMonO throws down his racks in his main. Oh, he's crazy. He's lost his mind. Why I bring that up, I mentioned before, HonMonO, he is known for being very aggressive, and he's known for being very aggressive and very cheesy, especially against Protoss players, especially against Terran. He's more macro-oriented against Zerg in TVZ. He is far more macro-oriented, and he does well for himself. I do love seeing HonMonO against Zerg, but I wonder what he brings to the table here against ByuN, and how he approaches the King, how he approaches such a favored player here. In this best-of-1 format, you know, this is where unorthodox play and cheese can really thrive and really catch some of these higher tier players off guard. That's why I say a player like Miyamika is terrifying in OSC King of the Hill, because he can do anything under the sun and above it. and next to it, and it's just he's crazy, but he's crazy. For now, of course, we do have our players getting into their expansions. ByuN did go for, sorry, HonMonO did go for a faster CC here, went for a rack expand, and oh my, again, this is the new patch, so HonMonO is going to be whipping out the new Cyclone. Goes for an add-on swap here for the reactor, and we have initial Cyclones on the way. Are we going to commit? Before I get ahead of myself, 2 Reapers of ByuN do slip into the main base. They're going to be focusing on some of these SCVs, and up, they will get one. Oh, a big reaction as well. 0 mining coming in here from HonMonO. But the Cyclones have arrived, and they will be able to focus down on these Reapers. But before that happens, 3 SCVs go down. A lot of damage for only 2 Reapers. It wasn't just the SCVs, but also the lost mining time. On top of that, the Cyclones have been spotted. Meanwhile, back at home, ByuN making a safety Cyclone of his own, but only a single one as he gets into his 1-1-1, getting into his natural base as well. Even though HonMonO had a faster CC and he has a faster orbital as a result, doesn't matter because ByuN was able to do some damage, and now he's ahead economically. Hellion run by slips in. The Cyclones are out of position. Oh, this does not bode well. We do have a reinforcing Cyclone that should clean this up, but once again, more lost mining time, and these mules, that's a big blow to the economy here of HonMonO, having the mules just pulled off the mineral line and doing nothing. Meanwhile, back at home, ByuN just getting towards his tank, getting towards his Raven production. Your standard TVT setup, to be honest. Tanks and Ravens, they are the bread and butter of a TVT. It's HonMonO that's mixing things up. And by that I mean that he has not stopped making Cyclones. And we're not stopping. Okay. Here we go. I'm curious because the Cyclone has been changed quite a bit in this new patch. In a way, it's a lot more microable, which I do appreciate, but it's also very fragile. I don't know how familiar the people in the chats are when it comes to the new Cyclone, but it's very fragile. It is. I don't even know if I want to call it a glass cannon because the DPS output was lowered a little bit as well. So yeah, it's a really interesting unit, and I'm really interested to see what HonMonO does with this, what he can accomplish with this as we're getting into additional Cyclones. A drop is going to be coming into the main base. HonMonO is in position. Does get a lock on the medevac. But alas, we do break the lock on, and ByuN pushes on forward. He does take down one of those Cyclones, and he's going to get the other. Up. Takes down the second Cyclone. We do have some flanking units coming in here from HonMonO. He does shut down the drop. He will clean this up, but not before losing 4 more SCVs. The damage is quite a bit here. I mean, ByuN did lose his drop, yes, but he traded well. He got not just 4 SCVs, but 2 Cyclones. He also got confirmation that we have continued Cyclone production. So a really good scout as well. Meanwhile, both players are going for their interference matrix upgrades. For those wondering, there have been some changes to the Raven, and you do now require an upgrade if you want to use the ability interference matrix. Of course, a pretty pivotal upgrade here in TVT. Reason why I say that, I talk about how the bread and butter of TVT is tank Raven. Really, it's tanks, but Ravens do add to that as well. Even if you have a lower tank count than your opponent, if you have some Ravens, if you have some disables, you can make up for a tank deficit. Speaking of tank deficit, we just don't have tanks at all. We have additional factories on the way, so HonMonO is committing here to a more mech style. We need to come up with a new name for this, as a little bit misplaced, but he is just making non-stop Cyclones in the center of the map, and he is being bypassed by ByuN. HonMonO out of position, and ByuN, he's going straight for the natural, he's going straight for the throat. Oh, this is unfortunate. This is a bit of a feels bad, man, as ByuN slips on by the army. HonMonO brings everything back home. Alas, he doesn't have recall available or anything like that. As a Terran race, he has to race back home. Natural base is forfeit. Ravens are coming in. Good disables. The boys are being pulled, and with this surround, HonMonO should be able to clean this up. He comes in from behind. Auto targets are thrown down as well. A lot of SCVs are going down. HonMonO, he will clean up the army, but his economy is non-existent. He is down to 28 SCVs against the 55 of ByuN. HonMonO is all in. It's all or nothing here for HonMonO, and looking at the units tab, he has 12 Cyclones to the 2 tanks of ByuN. Can ByuN hold with these tanks? He has 2 tanks in position. He's got a couple of SCVs that he can pull. He could try repair as well. He's got a couple of Marines, a couple of Marauders. Stim is not done. Uh-oh. We gotta go. We don't have the luxury to pull back here. HonMonO, he scans ahead of time. The longer he waits, I mean, Stim is 10 seconds away, and here we go. HonMonO, he pushes in. Throws down 1 disable, but the tank line is too strong, and we cannot push forward. HonMonO cannot break this position. He has to back off, and ByuN gets away with his 3rd. 65 SCVs compared to the sub 40 of HonMonO. HonMonO, he at least has a 3rd base. You know, he's got some mules, he's got a couple of SCVs. You know, he's working on a 4CC as well. Really, I think HonMonO, his best chance with this kind of army is to somehow catch ByuN in the center of the map. I mean, that's why he was camped here earlier, right? Like, that's why HonMonO, he was waiting for any kind of move out. He was hoping to catch ByuN unsieged. That's kind of the power of the Cyclone. You can kite, you can, of course, get your lock-ons off. But here we go. ByuN is pushing out. And with these tanks slowly sieging forward, how can HonMonO break this? Really has to rely on those Ravens, has to rely on those Matrixes. As the 3rd base has to be given up. Behind this, ByuN is expanding, taking a 4th on location. Oh, and ByuN is not stopping. He may even get within range of some of this production. As he drops into the main. Tanks are covering him. The Ravens are coming in, but they expose themselves. Oof. 1 Raven goes down. We do land some disables. Every tank is disabled, but despite that, the Bio Army trades so well. The Marauders stand strong, and what is that? Like, half of the Cyclones just melt. GG gets called. And ByuN takes down HonMonO and once again holds onto his crown. ByuN is our King of the Hill. GG. But I do appreciate that HonMonO tried something different. I appreciate that he's having fun with the new patch and attempted to mass Cyclones, and there's potentially some power behind that. Potentially. Just really unfortunate. More than once, HonMonO was caught out of position, and he wasn't able to really make full use of his Cyclones. And even when we saw HonMonO get a full surround and clean up the army, all it takes is a couple of tanks, a couple of bio units, and the Cyclones, they're just so fragile. You can't really break that position. We saw him try and fail to break the 3rd base of ByuN. So that's not really the strength of the Cyclone when it comes to like breaking these entrenched tank lines. Regardless, GG, well played. Congratulations to ByuN as he claims another win. GG. With that, we have some catching up to do. I apologize. I've been focusing on the cast and I haven't been reading chat too often. I see in the chat. What is that blue upgrade? Yes, that is as I mentioned before. At the moment, when Ravens spawn in, they do not have interference matrix available. You do need to upgrade that ability to unlock it for the Raven. That is a change that was made. I believe it was mainly targeting TVP. If you're familiar with Colossus openers, or Phoenix Colossus openers specifically, some really difficult holds or some interesting dynamics that used to be quite prevalent is these Bio Raven timings, where you would push in with a pretty strong timing on 2 bases against a Protoss player, and 1 or 2 good disables, you would disable the Colossus and the Protoss player would just die. And I think specifically that interaction was meant to be addressed by that upgrade, just to delay it, just to make it cost a little bit more and give the Protoss a little bit more chance to defend against that kind of push. I think that's kind of the scenario that was specifically targeted by that change. But regardless, GG, well played. Congratulations to ByuN as he takes down HonMonO. And do we have another opponent? We do! We have our next challenger, and quite a challenger at that. Oh boy. Okay, so we went through one of each race. We went through a Zerg, a Protoss, and a Terran. Who do we send next against ByuN? The answer is one of the best in Europe. We have, for a while, has been a rising star, Wayne, aka Radata, Vanya. Does he go by a new name nowadays? Maybe. Regardless, Wayne is going to be stepping up to face off against ByuN. Let's go. Let us go. Big fan of Wayne here. He's a little bit underrated. I know that for a while he had like he had the spotlight. I remember was it last year or the year before that? I think it was last year when Wayne took down Cyril in DreamHack EU. Wait, was that this year? God, it's all... Mate, the COVID era of StarCraft just like blends everything together. But even before that, like back before all the name changes, like a lot of people had their eyes on Vanya as a rising Zerg talent in Europe, and he's been doing quite well for himself. I want to say last year he kind of plateaued a little bit, and he kind of fell. I wouldn't say he fell off, but like, you know, he kind of stagnated. When it comes to his performances against some of the other stronger European players like, you know, Hero Marine and Cyril and Raynor. But I want to say at the start of the year, it feels like he's been reinvigorated, maybe coinciding with the name change, and Wayne, he's been doing well again. Been doing well. Been looking good. Has been... Oh. Hold on. I've got some mixed signals here. I'm not too sure. Is it if Wayne is the challenger? Alright, we're good. Okay, so so what just happened? Because I know you can't see the screen at the moment, but looks like multiple players were told to face off against ByuN, so we had a bunch of lobbies going down, and then ByuN's like, why does everyone want me? Why does everyone want to play? One at a time, Bobby, one at a time. So calm down. We have a couple of players lined up, He's like, come at me all at the same time. Oh, okay. That's Archon mode, Poppy. Archon. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to name the other players. But we do have some players lined up. But I believe it is going to be ByuN versus Wayne for now. ByuN versus Wayne. Oh. All right, we're good. I was just bombarded by lobbies. Other than that, again, hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone enjoyed ESL Open Cup Asia. Whether you're from Wardy, Stream, or Steadfast. Hope the games were good. When it comes to ourselves, we will be covering ESL Americas in a couple of hours. But once we wrap up with OSC King of the Hill, we'll probably give one of the ESL EU casters a raid. Because I believe ESL Open Cup EU will start by the time we wrap up. So the StarCraft doesn't end. The StarCraft does not end. We'll send you guys over. It's all good. See the chat. Vanya, Van, Radita, Wayne. It's fine. It's all good. I think Wayne's constant name changes killed and keep killing his hype. I think it can be hard, right? Like real talk when it comes to name changes and changing your ID and your persona. It can be difficult because I'm sure a lot of people maybe remember Vanya and don't know that he's still active because he's suddenly, you know, named something else. I I think most recently that's the case with Ragnarok. For those who don't know, Ragnarok name changed like last week. It's like, mate, why? Like, Ragnarok is such a good name, and it's so iconic. Like, you've been called Ragnarok for so many years, and now no more. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. There's wondering, Ragnarok, he goes by Shin. He goes by Shin nowadays. It was so awkward. We were casting Ragnarok a couple of days ago in WTL, and in the middle of I was casting with Asher, and in the middle of the cast, I kept like correcting myself. I was like, Ragnar, Shin. I was like trying to force myself to say Shin. It was hard. It was hard. When you've known someone as a certain ID for so long. It's very similar with Vindicta. Like, I just call him Migs. I guess because I know him a little bit more personally. Or DRG, you know, I'm used to calling him Dongregu. Nowadays, I think I've got it down to DRG. What's another one? Juanito, Special, Major. Major for a long time. Long time was Major. But I think he's I guess because it's been so long, you know, Special, he's solidified himself. It's all good. He has become the Special. And sometimes we just call him Juanito, to be fair. But yeah, we're just getting the lobby ready. All good. We'll start soon. We'll start soon. Maybe he was so upset after Love and Thunder he abandoned the whole Thor franchise. No, don't like this. I mean, to be fair, I haven't even seen it. I haven't seen the new Thor movie. I've heard mixed things. Maybe Ragnarok as well. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Shin is part of his name. It is part of his name. Yeah. Oh, true. What happened to time? True. He's gone, Papi. Alright, but here we go. We have our next series. We have our next challenger. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire once again, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player representing his brand new team, Starlight Twinkle. It is Wayne. We go Wayne, one of the best Zerg players out there, and has been getting some pretty good results recently. Been really impressing us. I want to say that Wayne and ByuN actually faced off last week, if I'm not mistaken. I should have been looking this up actually, because I remember casting Wayne versus ByuN, and I remember it going the distance. We have the technology. As we're getting into our openers, and oh my god, ByuN, he's known for his low ground 2-racks openers, but no, he will shift gears, and ByuN goes for a CC first. Very economic opener here by ByuN, gonna be delaying his racks, and this can sometimes be a little bit risky, especially if your opponent is one to go for something like roach rushes and roach heavy aggression. And I do feel like Wayne can be a very aggressive player, but yeah, a bit of a risky move here, as ByuN is going to go CC first into a 2-racks. My oh my. ByuN, you do have my attention. Again, a really big risk. ByuN, he's not SCV scouting. Of course, his Reaper is going to be delayed as well. If he even goes for a Reaper, he may go CC first into a Reactor first. We have seen that from players like Spirit and ByuN before. So yeah, ByuN cutting quite a lot of corners. Meanwhile, quickly just double check, and yes, okay, so it was this last week? ESL Open Cup Americas 192. A couple of weeks ago, we did cast it on this channel. Wayne did defeat ByuN in a best of 3. It went all the way to the ace match, but Wayne did win. This was a couple of weeks ago in ESL Open Cup Americas. So Wayne, he's done it before. Can he do it again? As it is gonna be that Reactor first. So greedy. ByuN literally has 0 units. ByuN has 0 units. He went CC first, into a 2-racks, into Reactor and Tech Lab. Finally, we have our first units on the way. And again, if ByuN was up against something like a Roach Rush or something more aggressive, ByuN 1 would have no idea because he's not scouting and he would not have anything to defend. So really greedy move here out of ByuN as he's getting into a 4-racks follow-up. Very aggressive follow-up as well. Okay, so as we get into this, talking about the opener, we were bringing up the 3-racks when we were casting ByuN versus DIMAGA. In ByuN versus DIMAGA, ByuN went for a 3-racks, which I was talking about how it wasn't really too committed, right? Like it was designed to force a reaction, to trade with the Zerg player, but not really do much else. This is different though. With a 4-racks, you do have to be committed. ByuN does have a lot of pressure on him to move out with his bio army and to maybe even break the 3rd base or do economic damage. Before I can even talk about that, we have Lings. They do come on in. They try to surround the Marines, but the boys are pulled and ByuN will hold. A good defense here. Looking at the units lost tab, not a single unit went down for ByuN. And 5 Lings for Wayne. Oh boy, not the best start. Of course, it's only 5 Lings, not the biggest of losses, but regardless, lost units nonetheless here for Wayne. On top of that, Wayne didn't scout the main base. He has an Overlord here outside the natural, but Wayne, for all he knows, this could be a 2-on-1, right? Only Marines have been revealed, which is indicative of a at least 2-racks opener. But the rest of these Marines, they have not been scouted. Wayne, he does have Overlord spread out. He has control of the Xel'Naga, and this Overlord may spot the move out, but this does require a certain response. And Wayne is responding. He's going to be cutting workers here at 39. He is going for a Bailey Nest behind this. Interesting, a hidden Bailey Nest. Wayne's going for a Bane Bust. Part of me would say, is this defensive? No. To defend against a 4-racks, you do not need a Bailey Nest. So this is aggression out of Wayne. He has recognized that there aren't going to be any Hellions, there aren't going to be any tanks, which means a Bane Bust is ideal. But we're missing each other. The ships, they pass in the light. ByuN comes in from the right hand side. The Lings come in from the left. We have the Bane Bust coming in from Wayne. We're going for a base trade. Oh boy. Here we go. ByuN is going to be laying siege upon this 3rd base. He hasn't stimmed yet. Again, he has to be very careful. There are no medevacs. Every stim will hurt him. He doesn't want to waste him. Here we go. We are going to be engaging here with these reinforcements. At the same time, the Bane Bust is upon us, but we do have Marines back at home. Up! The connections! Oof. The Bailings, they will connect. ByuN will lose his main army. At the same time, he defends back at home. We're in an interesting position. So ByuN, his attack is cleaned up. Likewise, Wayne's attack is also cleaned up, and now we have to take stock. ByuN is ahead in workers. He's looking solid here on 2 bases, and Wayne is not droning. Wayne is committed to the all-in. One way or another, he wants to make this work. He's going for a 2nd Bane Bust as he just consolidates his army. Meanwhile, ByuN is working on a factory in Starport. Wayne is hoping that maybe ByuN threw down a 3rd CC, but there is no 3rd CC. We have a tank on the way. We have additional units in production as well from ByuN. Bunker as well. This position is becoming more and more solid. Now he throws down a 3rd CC. Can Wayne pull this off? I mean, okay, to be fair, the tank isn't done. The tank is not ready yet. The Banelings are rolling on in. They will bust through into the natural. Well, we do have enough left over. The bunker should fall. Up! We go for the Marines! We're going for the Marines instead, and so far the kiting is looking pretty good. The splits are looking decent as well. The Banelings go down, the Lings fall, and ByuN has held. GG gets called. ByuN survives the all-in and takes down Wayne. GG. That was wild. Oh my god. Both players just ramping it up to 11 with their playstyles, with their builds, with their openers, and in the end, ByuN was able to hold on. Very unfortunate for Wayne. Again, I do think that Wayne was gambling a little bit, that we would maybe have a more economic follow-up to the 4-racks. But alas, again, ByuN was taking it very seriously with that bunker, with continued unit production as well. Not really investing too much into his economy, and yeah, ByuN was able to hold. GG, well played. ByuN takes down Wayne. Whew. Can anyone stop this man? Can anyone stop our Terran player as we have our next contender here? Once again, from Europa. We're going to be taking a step back when it comes to the Zerg. Up next, we have a Protoss. Protoss near and dear to the channel as well. I mentioned before, kind of like DIMAGA, but our next player also is a regular in our events, and we do a soft place in our heart for them. It is going to be the Ukrainian Protoss, NightPhoenix. Oh, let's go. NightPhoenix is coming out next, and this is going to be an interesting one. Similar to Wayne, NightPhoenix can also be like very aggressive with their play style. So yeah, I don't think this is clear cut, especially considering it's a best of one. On top of that, just because I believe I haven't actually mentioned this, the way the format works, Challenger picks the map. The Challenger does pick the map. That's why we've been getting Cosmic Sapphire. It is a really good Zerg map. We didn't even get a chance to talk about the map itself. Like, there's so much to talk about, especially when we bring up some of these older maps. But it did make sense for Wayne to go for a map like Cosmic Sapphire. But I wonder, where are we going here in this PvT? Here we go. So I'm just attempting to set things up and make sure everything is ready to go. Whew. Oh boy. And what is that? 4 wins now? 4 wins for ByuN. Can anyone stop him? Again, we're kind of nearing the not even the halfway point yet. It's the third of the way points of this tournament. 15 best of ones in total. 15. We are reaching number 5. We're getting there. We're getting there. And we have had instances. We have had instances in the past where a player goes on a tear and doesn't drop a map. It's happened before. I want to say most recently. I say most recently. This was maybe 3 months ago. Maybe around April-ish. We were lucky enough to cast an OSC King of the Hill with Max Packs. Max Packs rocked up, and no one could stop him. So many people tried. Nightmare came out. Spirits came out. Even a couple of the Koreans as well. I mean, I mentioned Nightmare. But Max Packs could not be stopped, and he won all 15 games. It was crazy, and it doesn't happen too often. It doesn't happen even with ByuN. Like, ByuN, he's a regular here, and usually someone brings him down, like a Nicoract or a Spirit or a Wayne. Someone usually stops him, or a Max Packs. So we'll see. We'll see if ByuN can go for the entire run here and be not just the King of the Hill, but the God King of the Hill. Oh, let's go. I can't remember what we called Max Packs. It was like God King Emperor or something. I don't know. It had to be something higher than just King of the Hill, you know, at that point. As we're getting into our next game. Here we go. We've had 1 Bane Bust, yes. But what about a second Bane Bust? I love it. Just catching up. And here we go, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of one of the new maps, Hardlead. Sorry, yeah, Hardlead. I almost said Hardlead. We have the Ukrainian Protoss player representing Hot-Headed Gaming. It is NightPhoenix. He is our challenger, and spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the current reigning King of the Hill representing Shopify Rebellion, the South Korean Terran. It is ByuN. Oh, where is Europa? Este Nish. Nish, what are you doing here? Hope you're doing well, Papi. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. As for now, we are getting into our openers. NightPhoenix is going to be going for a probe scout across the map, trying to get a read on what's going on. And again, it's so refreshing to see some of these newer maps. It's been a couple of days so far since the patch and the maps have been live. We have been lucky enough to cast quite a bit of this. A little bit less so in WTL. For those wondering, for the past 3 days, we have been covering World Team League. And because it's only the first week of WTL, they actually still incorporated some of the older maps and a little bit of the newer maps as well, but less than we would have liked. So I appreciate that we get some more, Hard Lead or Oceanborn, Hecate, and some of these other maps. What are the others? Site Delta, Solaris. I remember. For now, it's going to be an economic opener. Economic opener out of ByuN. Going to be going for a Rax Expand, a single gas opener. So, again, very economic. Not as crazy as last game, like going for a CC first, but that isn't really a thing in this matchup. Isn't really a thing in a TVP. Meanwhile, let's go. NightPhoenix successfully hides his probe. Does avoid the prying eyes of this Reaper. And the probe is going to slip back in for a follow-up scout, confirming the factory, as well as the CC on the high ground. So very nicely done by NightPhoenix. At the same time, we do have the Reaper getting across the map, slipping into the main base, and he will get not just two probes, one probe here and one probe across the map. So pretty good damage overall. Meanwhile, looking at the vision of ByuN, he did indeed scout the tech. ByuN did spot the Stargate. Up. As ByuN, he wants the probe. He wants it, but he will not get it. The Adept is able to keep up and does shoo that Reaper away. As NightPhoenix is going to be able to maintain control of his two bases, get into that Stargate, and start working towards, I imagine, Phoenixes, and there we go. Phoenix production has commenced. Meanwhile, across the map, we are getting into our 2-1 setup. Safety Cyclone. We have one Cyclone on the way, yes, but this doesn't mean we're going mass Cyclone. Fun fact, I was having some brief words with ByuN before the tournament, and I was asking about his thoughts about the Cyclone. He's like, no. Yeah, he doesn't like the new Cyclone. He's not too fond of it. So I know that there are some builds that have been popping up. I know that there are some all-ins, especially in TVP, incorporating the new Cyclone. But it looks like ByuN, he's not too fond of it for the time being. We'll see if he warms up to it over the next couple of weeks. As the Phoenix comes in, we do get a lock on and the Phoenix goes down. Rough loss there for NightPhoenix to lose his first Phoenix already. Ay. Again, this is something that you want to build up over time. Get a solid Phoenix count out, gain map control, shut down drops. But to lose your first Phoenix already, that is a big blow. Another probe goes down. ByuN just getting so much value here with so little. Behind this is a 3-1-1 setup here, getting into a much faster third Rax before the starport, so very bio heavy here from ByuN. He's going to be hitting hard with Stim and with his Medivacs. So an interesting choice. By going for this kind of opener, this makes sense, especially after scouting a starport. We don't really need to prioritize tank production. We don't have stalkers that are going to be threatening these bases. So again, we're just rushing into Stim. And we will see if NightPhoenix can defend against this push. Now, this push is going to be interesting in another way as well. So because we delayed our starport, there isn't going to be a Raven. And typically, we do need Ravens to have these pushes be successful just because of the Matrix, right? The disable on the Colossus. Colossus are on the way. Robotics Bay is about to finish up, and our first Colossus is soon to be in production. So I wonder how or what ByuN's kind of answer to that is going to be. As NightPhoenix is expanding, taking his third base. Phoenix is just sharking around. This time they're going to be able to break the lock on and get away from the Cyclone. Oh god. As another Phoenix almost goes down. And NightPhoenix is just kind of pinned here into the corner of the map. Colossus production has commenced. We have one on the way. We're going to have a shield battery and an overcharge available here at the natural. We're not quite set up at the third base yet, but momentarily we will be. As the Phoenixes, they do come back in. Another Phoenix goes down. We are getting a couple of SCVs, but as the Phoenixes are busy doing economic damage, ByuN is moving out across the map. And there will be one Colossus to defend, but only one. NightPhoenix actually doesn't really have too much to hold. as we do drop into the main. Again, ByuN hoping to pull NightPhoenix apart, looking to pull him out of position. Good target firing as well. Probes are going down. The first Colossus is dragged into the main base. At the same time, the second army of ByuN is headed towards that third. And this drop will get cleaned up, but it had to be cleaned up. It was going to be. We do recall. NightPhoenix recalls back to the third base. The Colossus looking very exposed, and it's going to be targeted down. And NightPhoenix has been pulled apart. GG gets called. ByuN takes another game. Oh my god. GG. Again, NightPhoenix just having a really hard time splitting up between those two bases. The recall really sealed the deal as well because there was nothing to support that Colossus within range of the Marauders, and GG. ByuN does take down NightPhoenix, getting another win. Oh boy. NightPhoenix falls. Wayne falls. Who's next? Who is next? I'm waiting for the heavy hitters. Okay, so again, if you're unfamiliar with OSC King of the Hill, we do have some big names. You know, I think of Spirit, I think of Nightmare, Dark, Solar, MaxPax as well as another member of OSC Elite. There are some special Juanito when I think of these players that could potentially go toe-to-toe with ByuN, but it also depends on whether or not they're available, right? They have to be available here on the night to be able to compete here against ByuN, and you know, are they here? Do they want it? Oh boy. Can they face off against him? As ByuN now gets his 5th win. 5 wins in a row. Damn. We are a third of the way through. But it's okay. We still have 10 more players. 10 more players looking to bring down ByuN. Can it be done? I do see a couple of players lying in wait. I see them in the chat. I see them in game. Some of them are looking pretty interesting. But we'll see. We shall see. Catching up. ByuN's English is actually pretty good amongst the Koreans. True. I don't know what kind of bar we're setting though. But yeah, it's actually not bad. He can communicate. It's not Solar or parting level of English, but Lambo, Scarlet, and Hearthstone have talked to ByuN a lot. Yeah, that's definitely true. It's really cool. It's really cool to see. I think you get to hear some of it as well when he streams. He's willing to interact with people in the chat. Always appreciate it whenever Koreans make the effort to learn a bit of English, especially for the international scene. It's really cool. Solar's English is better than mine. True. Is it the new patch or old patch with new maps? It is the new patch. Oh, here we go. We're getting in. It is the new patch, and we have the new maps as well as some older maps as well. This is a unique map pool. And here we go. We are getting into another TVP with a very different Protoss player. Up next, ByuN versus Gerald. Here we go. Gerald from Storm Gaming, the Polish Protoss player. The first of many. Again, when it comes to these OSC events, we have plenty of Polish representation, whether it's players like Gerald, Mana, Spirit, Christianer, Papi, Rodzin, Ziomek. The Polish scene is pretty vibrant, especially when it comes to the Polish Protoss players as well. There's a lot of them. And we do typically feature them in these OSC events, so I'm sure we'll get another down the line. But here we go, spawning in the top right hand corner of Hecate, we have the Polish Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Storm Gaming. It is Gerald. And spawning in the bottom left left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. Here we go, and let's this is what I want. This is what I wanted. Proxy pylon is thrown down here for Gerald's pylon at home, pylon across the map. And how committed are we going to be? Is it only going to be a singular gateway, or are we going to throw down even more? You know, this is what I want to see to bring down a player like ByuN, catch him off guard, catching with some kind of crazy cheese, as we do throw down 2 proxy gateways. 2 gateways are thrown down. Meanwhile, back at home, ByuN setting up a Rax Expand. Again, he has been going for very economic openers throughout a lot of these games. I think the only game where he went for a double gas opener was the TVT between himself and HonMonO, but HonMonO is known for cheese. HonMonO, he is known for aggression, so it made sense for ByuN to open up safely against him at least. Meanwhile, we'll see what Gerald can bring to the table, as there is no Cybercore for the time being, which means we're going to be making 2 Zealots. It's going to be 2 Zealots into a Cybercore into 2 Adepts, I imagine, or even Stalker play, as Gerald does confirm the opener, does confirm the single gas, so he knows, of course, of the expansion, and Gerald forces the CC on the high ground. So a bit of inefficiency here from ByuN. There are those 2 Zealots, and there is that Cybercore back at home. Again, this will facilitate for additional gateway units afterwards, whether it's Stalker or Adept, we'll see. Now, unfortunately, oh god, okay, he's not gonna check. No, he's checking. No. As ByuN does check his third base, will spot the proxy and the Zealots as well, which means they have to commit. I was about to say that ideally we bank up these Zealots and then we head in to try to disrupt the economy and disrupt the mining, but alas, again, it's a CC on the high ground, not on the low ground. Very safe response here from ByuN. Bunker is on the way. And yeah, these Zealots are not going to be able to accomplish much. For those wondering, basically, Gerald, he was hoping for a CC on the low ground, and then the Zealots would be able to take down the SCV and delay it and, you know, disrupt the opener of ByuN. But ByuN opened up safely, and his CC is perfectly fine. Reaper can get across the map. Oh boy, there we go. Stalkers are going to be the answer here. Gerald is expanding behind this, so he's not all in. He is transitioning, but again, like, really what Gerald can hope for here is just delay the expansion. Just contain his opponent for as long as he can. Keep ByuN on one base. Meanwhile, the Reaper does slip into the main. There is a shield battery ready for this, so no probes will go down. We have our tech of choice. It's going to be a Twilight Council. Stalker does arrive. Gerald's going to be able to hold on to his main base. Now, the plus side for ByuN is he did scout the tech. He did see the Twilight Council ahead of time. He's aware of the potential Blink or even potential Dark Shrine, as ByuN is now looking to expand. Sure, there are Zealots here, but with the new Cyclone, with all these Marines as well, he should be able to clean this up. Gerald does dive on that CC. Oh, again, Cyclone does have to be careful. Second Stalker arrives. God, ByuN, no fear, just making SCVs here on the low ground. Behind this interesting choice here, we're getting into a 1-1-1 follow-up with tank production, getting into Banshees as well. Here we go. Gerald, he does take control of the natural for the time being. Is going to be containing ByuN a little bit longer onto that one base. It's only for a little bit longer as the Cyclone does get repaired. We salvage the bunker. Again, ByuN now has more control over his natural. I love this Raven as well. This is something that a lot of the Korean players have been doing. I say Korean players, I'm sure, you know, Hero Marine and Clem have adopted this as well. But going for a singular Banshee here in this matchup, just for a bit of a backstab. No big investment into this Banshee. Like, there's no cloak. We're not committed into additional Banshees either. But this is just a really good way to try to punish the economy of the Protoss while they're hyper fixated on their own aggression. As Banshee does make its way across the map. behind this, we're getting into our 3-1-1 setup. Very standard play here out of ByuN. Because he's scattered the Twilight Council opener, he's getting into tank production, which makes plenty of sense, especially against something like a 3 or even 4 gate opener. ByuN needs to be secure as he's building up his forces. And again, ByuN won't be moving out anytime soon. Oh, the big tank shot goes off. Lone Adept does slip into the main, does provide high ground vision. At the same time, the Banshee does get across the map. 3 probes go down and a lot of lost mining time. Again, with this Adept, Gerald, he has the opportunity to blink into the main base if he sees one, but doesn't go for it. Banshee across the map comes back in, is going to be able to get a 4th and even a 5th probe. Up! Spoke too soon. Attempts to, but that shield battery is putting in a lot of work, and the Banshee will go down. Only 4 probe kills. Not ideal here for ByuN. I mean, he did force lost mining time at least earlier, if you recall. But now Gerald can focus on his attack, or he can focus on containing his opponent and taking control of his 3rd. Oh, do we go in? Not quite worth it for Gerald. He does end up losing a couple of these Stalkers. 1 Stalker goes down. Meanwhile, Stim is now done. ByuN, he's just building up his forces. He's waiting for his medevacs. Once the medevacs come out, then ByuN can start moving out across the map. He can either go for drop play or just actually move his entire army out instead. ByuN has options. Oh, as the Cyclone is going to go down. A bit of an early stim out of ByuN. He at least takes down the Zealots. But again, now that he has medevacs, he can go for drop play. He can stim a little bit more freely. And Gerald is now under a bit of pressure. He himself is going into Colossus. We have a Robotics Bay about to finish up, and the first Colossus is going to be in production momentarily. Oh, and I got ahead of myself. It is not Colossus. He's going straight for Disruptors. A bold move here by Gerald. Very bold move, very high risk, high reward. As you can imagine, Colossus provide consistent splash damage. For Disruptors, it's one and done with their Novas. You either connect and you shut down an army, or you miss and you die. Especially this early on. A very risky move out of our Protoss player. As ByuN does expand, taking his 3rd base. Quite quickly, might I add. Gerald, upon seeing the 3rd, he goes for his 4th. But here we go. ByuN is now moving out. We do have that 1 Disruptor. And ByuN hasn't seen it. He does get eyes on the 4th base. And here we go. The Zealots, they collapse upon the tanks. They were caught unsieged. And all 3 tanks will go down. A good start to the fight for Gerald. And that Nova still hasn't gone off. Up. Not the best Nova, but despite that, we still have a lot of Zealots on the ground. We're going for another warp in, but a slow warp in. Does finish up. But alas, Gerald, he will give up this 4th base. It will be cancelled. ByuN's going to keep on pushing. He's rallying everything across the map. Now, again, at least his tank count was reset, so Gerald has a little bit less to worry about. He does also keep his 1st Disruptor alive. Now has a 2nd. Just going to be zoning back the army. Gerald just buying time, taking his expansion over towards the right-hand side instead. But ByuN, he smells blood in the water. He knows that, again, there's quite some time until we have another Nova. Yeah, he can just stim on forward. These Zealots, they cannot engage. We now have a 3rd Disruptor. A decent Nova taking down some of those mines. Oh, the other does miss. Overcharge putting in some work, but the overcharge runs out. Oh no! Oh my, the splits! Oh my god! Not a single Nova connects. Good target firing. Every single Disruptor goes down. And this may just be too much. I mean, Gerald, he's lost all of his splash damage. There's nothing left. There's 1 more Disruptor on the way. And ByuN backs off. He's going to be consolidating his army. But that was an insane split, by the way. That was... Oh my god. ByuN, Bobby, calm down. He wants all the money to himself. Ay, ay, ay. As he's pushing in now with more mines, with ghosts as well. EMPs are available. ByuN with a fully saturated third base. Fourth base is on the way. As ByuN rotates over, now gets eyes on the new fourth of Gerald. He sees, he knows. He also spots that one disruptor. Oh, good connection. The first good connection here from Gerald. Here we go, the Zealots, they do collapse in. Hoping for some friendly fire. But the Marine, the Marauder still stands strong. Yeah, the Zealots are going down. The Stalkers as well. Expensive losses here for Gerald. Yeah, the kiting is a little bit too good. Nova goes off and it will take down a Ghost. A pretty good Nova. ByuN doesn't have enough to break this position, but he has reinforcements on the way. You know, it's an uphill battle. Oh, and there's another mine goes off. And again, Gerald, because he's been bleeding out too many disruptors, like his army, it's just not looking too impressive at all. Over time, ByuN is snowballing out of control. He's going for a doom drop into the main. He's got an army ready to lay siege upon the fourth. And Geralt is being pulled apart. He just doesn't have enough supply. It's a numbers game at this point. Novas go up in a panic. They take down some of the mines. But again, ByuN, he will break the fourth base, and he has depowered almost everything in the main. And even if this army gets cleaned up, he gets the fourth. And that's what matters. He's just containing Geralt to 3 bases. While ByuN takes his fourth. We're not stopping. We're dropping back into the main. He wants that army. He wants those disruptors. He takes down the last gateways. Novas go up. Up. Decent connections once again on these Marauders. Oh my god. As ByuN is getting a little bit adventurous and he's overextending a little bit. Geralt, he does hold, but there's still so much more where that came from. The macro of ByuN has been left untouched. He hasn't been losing any SCVs. He hasn't been interrupted at all when it comes to his economy. GG gets called. Well played. And ByuN will take down Geralt 1-0. GG. ByuN will remain our king of the hill. And Geralt, he had his moments, definitely. I will say he had his moments. You know, he was able to... I would say that probably the highlight for Geralt was his first engagement, if you remember. When he had one disruptor, when he fought at his first fourth base location, when he caught those 3 tanks unsieged, like that was like a really good moment for him. He cleaned up the tanks, he was deflecting the army, but maybe he overextended, and at that point maybe it would have been wiser to just give up on that fourth base and retain some of your army. Alas, he bled out a little bit too much, and that was kind of the beginning of the end after he just lost too many Zealots, too many Stalkers. ByuN just would not stop. And, yeah, GG. GG, well played. ByuN does take down Geralt, and who's next? Who is next? Once again, we have another challenger, another contender. Oh boy. It is going to be another Protoss player. Another European Protoss. A European Protoss that we haven't casted in quite some time. Let me just double check what team they're on. It's Ashbringer's cousin. Okay, I'm getting ready. It is going to be, oh god, Ashbringer. I misspelt it. There we go. It is going to be another TVP, ByuN versus Ashbringer. Again, Ashbringer, a little bit more of an, I wouldn't want to say unknown entity, but again, more of a niche player here. He has his own strengths though. He's a very aggressive Protoss. I don't want to get too into it, but we've seen a lot of all-ins, okay? We've seen a lot of all-ins involving this Protoss player, but here we go. We are getting into this and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Moondance. We have the South Korean Terran player, the current king of the hill with 6 wins under his belt, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the teal Protoss player representing Team Starcom. It is Ashbringer. Not to be confused with Ashbringer. But they are both very similar. Well, let me tell you. I do at times confuse Ashbringer with Exo Striker. Okay, I know Exo Striker is a very cheesy player. I know that like every PvP Exo Striker goes for Proxy Robo. But here in a PvT, Ashbringer, what can he bring to the table? We saw Gerald being a little bit cheeky with his own opener previously, if you remember, with that double gate opener. With mixed success, right? It did delay the expansion, it did contain ByuN on one base a little bit, but it didn't really do too much damage, didn't really get too much done. So I wonder what Ashbringer brings to the table as we are dancing in the moonlight. It's been a while. Not the first time today, but again, like I miss this map aesthetically. I don't miss playing on it. This was a veto for me back in the day. I remember doing like I remember playing a bunch of customs with Asher. We were doing some 2-on-1 customs on this map, and the rush distance by ground is so short, and it was not pretty. It was brutal, Bob. It was brutal. But there are certain features of this map that make it a lot of fun. You know, we do, of course, have a short rush distance by ground. Very short, actually, so you can be quite aggressive. Meanwhile, the probe gets locked in. The probe will be hunted down. And before I talk about the map, interesting opener. ByuN, for the first time tonight, in this matchup, ByuN is going for a double gas opener. Okay. Usually it's racked expand, but no, this time it's going to be a double gas opener into a faster factory, a delayed expansion here from ByuN. Interesting choice. With this, he'll get into a faster factory production, into a faster starport, of course, as well. First Reaper will get across the map, getting eyes on things. And our tech of choice is going to be a Stargate from Ashbringer. Now, talking about the map, of course, the biggest thing is we do have a pocket base. We do have a pocket here behind the natural, behind the main. With this, you can take a very fast third and you can be very greedy. Quite greedy indeed. And we saw that earlier today with ByuN versus Nice. We saw ByuN go for a third CC before second racks, if you remember. It was crazy how greedy ByuN was being. Likewise, Nice was also being greedy as well, taking a faster third base. For the time being, though, we don't see that happening. Again, I appreciate that ByuN is switching things up. He has a lot of variety available to him as he moves out across the map with his first Reaper and one Cyclone. With the shield battery, the Cyclone shouldn't be able to do too much as the lock-on is broken. There we go. Is going to be broken. That's the other big change to the Cyclone, is that the lock-on range is far shorter, so you do have some counterplay available. You can, or it is much easier to break the lock-on, and as a result have a more back and forth with this unit. Meanwhile, interesting choice. Ashbringer is going to be going for an Oracle first. Bold move. It's going to be an Oracle first, then into Phoenixes. Looking for some economic damage, looking to try and get a couple of workers, but the Cyclone is in position back at home. We have a Cyclone and Marines in the main. Sorry, in the natural. The main base is a little bit more exposed, but the Cyclone is on the way and does get here in time. Now, the Oracle won't die, because once again it will break the lock-on, but doesn't get any SCVs. So far this Oracle hasn't paid for itself. Quite an amount of hull damage has been dealt. And ByuN is getting into this, into his 1-1-1, getting into a medevac first, and he's being hyper aggressive here, sending out some SCVs for repairs, and that is 2 tanks in that medevac. My oh my, this is almost essentially a 2 base all in. We have a Liberator coming in to support, there are no SCVs coming out either. Oracle comes in, does get 1 worker, but the tanks have arrived, and that's interesting. Force field is thrown down, so we cannot quite repair the tank, but the tank gets a lot of hits off. The boys, they have to be pulled. Phoenixes do lift up the tanks, but there's just not enough DPS. The tanks, they survive. Yeah, the tanks survive anyway. SCVs go down, but the tanks, they just go to town on these adepts. 21 probes went down. GG will be called, and ByuN takes down Ashbringer, once again holding onto his crown. ByuN is still our king of the hill. GG. GG, well played. Unfortunately, again, the Oracle just didn't do too much damage. Not just that, but the Oracle failed to scout the push as well, so Ashbringer wasn't really ready for it. Did have a shield battery, thankfully, and did have his Phoenixes back at home, but ideally, with your Phoenixes, you have map control, and if he had spotted the move out, then the Phoenixes would be chipping away at the army as it, you know, was in the center of the map, whether it's the medevacs or the Marines, just slowing it down any way it could while preparing back at home, but it was unscouted. On top of that, to be fair, I mentioned at the start of the game, Moondance does have a very short rush distance, so pushes like this can catch you unawares. You have very little time to react and very little time to scout, so GG. GG, well played. ByuN takes down Ashbringer. Let's go. And this, it's time. It's time for some of the big names. The big boys are coming out. The Protosses have been struggling. They've been struggling a lot here against ByuN. You know, whether it's NightPhoenix, Ashbringer, Gerald as well. We don't need a Protoss. No. What we need is another strong Terran. One of the best Terrans in Europe. Arguably top 2. I know there's some contention there, you know, at least top 3, but I would go as far as to say top 2. It is going to be the Polish Terran player, Spirit. Let's go. Let us go. Spirit versus ByuN in a TVT. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. All right. We have our next contender. Again, Spirit, being one of the best Terrans in all of the European region, is gonna have quite an interesting matchup here against ByuN. I'm curious as to what map is gonna be chosen. That's kind of the biggest thing on my mind, as we have quite a lot of maps available. As a reminder, we are playing on the new map pool, as well as some of the older maps. I should have mentioned that earlier as well. The reason why we were on Moondance is that this tournament features an extended map pool. We have the current ladder map pool, like Golden Aura and Site Delta and Oceanborn, Hecate, Solaris, etc. But we also have some older maps that we've been featuring, that you've been seeing, like Moondance, as well as Cosmic Sapphire and Calliope. So we do have 3 additional maps added on that players can mess around with and players can pick. But here we go. We have our map of choice. It is going to be Oceanborn. Let's go. As a reminder, it is Challenger pick. So this is Spirit's map pick. This is where he wants to throw down in a TVT against ByuN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the Polish Terran player representing Storm Gaming. It is Spirit, the would-be usurper. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN, the current king of the hill with 7 wins under his belt. Can anyone stop this man? Potentially. Spirit is stepping up here, looking to bring him down. Can he do it? I believe he can. I believe, kind of like Wayne earlier, a lot of these players, even Gerald at times, they have it within them to take maps off of ByuN. Again, it's a best of 1. Anything could happen. But what do we have planned for this one map, for this one game, on this one Oceanborn? We'll see. For now, very standard openers. No proxy. Important to bear in mind. ByuN, he is known for his proxy Raxes in TVT, so very important to take note that his Rax is at home, not across the map. So again, it is going to be a Rax expand here from ByuN. Likewise, a Rax expand from Spirit. Economic openers from both players. They're respecting each other, not being hyper aggressive, not being overly safe. Going and setting up for their expansions on the low ground. You love to see it. We are getting into our game. Meanwhile, Spirit doesn't flinch. Interesting dynamic here. ByuN SCV scouted. ByuN went for an SCV scout to confirm what Spirit was up to. Spirit doesn't give a damn. So in a way, it's a slight advantage here for Spirit, but Spirit does technically have a slightly better economy because he doesn't go for the SCV scout. ByuN did, so that is a small variation here between these two players here on this map. But with this SCV, we have a little bit of extra DPS, and we have something to tank a shot. And here we go. ByuN is coming in. He wants to get that first shot off on the Reaper. Oh, but Spirit shoots first. But regardless, we will delay the CC on the low ground. SCV has to be pulled back. Oh god, the SCV! As ByuN will lose his Reaper. He loses the worker, but at the same time, Spirit also loses an SCV as well. Was this worth it? I mean, that's a big delay. That is a big delay on the CC of Spirit. ByuN is already done, and Spirit merely halfway. The downside for ByuN, of course, is that Spirit has map control. Spirit now has a Reaper advantage. He's moving out across the map, and he can pick off some workers. Alas, the CC has completed, and there is no SCV on the low ground. As we slip into the main, oh, we do get a shot off. Up! And we do get a kill on the second Reaper as well. We get a delay on the starport. Spirit popping off. Get some extra workers, get some Reapers. We'll get another SCV in the main. And ByuN, he just has to wait for another Hellion, but it is going to be pounced upon immediately. The Hellion goes down. GG gets called. It's just too much. And just like that, Spirit will take down ByuN. The king is dead. All hail the new king of the hill. It's going to be Spirit. GG. Oh my god. GG. I feel a little bit robbed. I wanted the mid game. I wanted a bit of a longer game, but regardless, ByuN gets punished. He gets punished for losing his first Reaper. We mentioned it. It was one of the things where ByuN, he did take an economic lead. He did manage to delay the CC by quite a lot, but losing your first Reaper, as we can see, things can escalate very quickly and snowball out of control. Spirit, he gets across the map. He gets a kill on the second Reaper, gets a kill on the Hellion. And that's it. That's game. GG. GG, well played. ByuN will not be going on an insane kill streak. He will not claim every single win. Spirit stands in his way, and Spirit stops him. Congratulations. Congratulations, Spirit. GG. Not an easy thing to do. And I'm sure, like, Spirit, he's one of those players that is probably unfazed. He's like, okay, who's next? Very nonchalant. Regardless, really well done here by Spirit to be able to bring down a player of the caliber of ByuN in a best of one. And we'll see if Spirit can, you know, keep up with the legacy of the previous king. You know, ByuN, he may just be brought down, but he got 7 wins under his belt. That's a lot of wins. That's a lot of money. Those wondering, the way that this tournament works, you gain money for every win that you get. That's how you gain prize money here. If you lose, you gain nothing. It's only for winners, only for winners. So it's a little bit cutthroat in that respect, a little bit cutthroat. So ByuN did claim 7 wins. Spirit, can he match that? Can he surpass that? Or will he be stopped? It's one of those things where sometimes here in OSC King of the Hill, you get some really long win streaks. Sometimes we end up in this weird scenario where we just trade back and forth and we get 1 win, then 1 win, then 1 win, and we just keep killing kings. Like, it happens, it happens. So we'll see how far Spirit can go. As we are getting ready for our next challenger, for our next opponent, once again, it is going to be a Protoss player. It is going to be a Protoss. But which one? That is the question. As oh, okay. I was concerned. I was like, did they leave me out? I couldn't find the players, Papi. I couldn't find them. But here we go. It is going to be Spirit versus Rostok. Here we go. In another TVP once again on Oceanborn. Seems to be a bit of a popular map here for these players. As a reminder, again, it is the contender picking the map. And this is where Rostok wants to claim his win. Here we go. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our new King of the Hill. We have the Polish Terran player representing Storm Gaming. It is Spirit. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Ukrainian Protoss player, the Red Protoss. It is Rostok. Here we go. We have seen a lot of aggressive plays out of Rostok in recent times. We did cast him recently in Sparkling Tuna Cup over the weekend. And Rostok did actually have some pretty interesting games against Iba, if you recall. Iba, we casted them duke it out. They went all the way to the ace match, and Rostok was able to, flaunt some interesting styles, was quite aggressive with Glaive Adepts, with Sky Toss as well. We got to see a little bit of late game prowess, but that was a PvZ. And I'm unfamiliar with Rostok in PvT. In a lot of our tournaments we host here on the CranKy Ducklings, we actually don't really get too much Terran representation. It's mainly Zergs and Protoss, so I'm ready to bear witness to the PvT of Rostok. Obviously, Spirit is the heavy favored player, but it's the best of one. And again, now is a good chance for Rostok to make a name for himself, because again, he's a little bit more of an unknown player, or he's a little bit less accomplished compared to Spirit. So now is his chance. As he does confirm the Rax Expand economic opener out of Spirit, and Rostok is being as annoying as possible, going to be delaying this CC for an extra couple of seconds before being pushed away, and the CC is thrown down. So a nice bit of annoyance initially, and now the job of this probe is to try to hide from this Reaper, make it back home safe and sound, and avoid it. As the Reaper does come out. Meanwhile, back at home, speaking of our Protoss player, just gonna be going for a Gate Cyber Expand. Very standard opener. Everything is back at home. No weird proxy. Nothing out on the map, and we're just waiting for our tech of choice. And based on its positioning, I'm assuming it's gonna be a Twilight Council, but we'll see what gets thrown down. As for now, the Reaper does get across the map. He's going to be poking in at that natural, and it is indeed going to be a Twilight Council. Okay, so Blink should be on the horizon. And the question becomes, well, one, of course, Spirit has to confirm the tech, slip into the main base, and get a read on what exactly is going on. But two, how many gateways? If this is, of course, Blink, there are different variations of Blink. We can see 2-gate Blink, 3-gate, or even 4-gate. Of course, each one is a different level of commitment, different level of aggression. Behind this, Spirit getting into a standard opener after that Rack Expand, getting into his 1-1-1. So no heavy bio play, no like 3 racks or 3-1-1 setup. Just getting into his factory, getting into his starport. Very standard play overall. Reaper is zoned away, and Spirit doesn't get into the main. Spirit is in the dark as to what is going on, for now. With this Hellion, he has chances to get a read on what is happening. He has the Hellion that can go into the natural base. He has the Reaper that can go up the cliff. So far, Rostok, he does have Adepts here in the natural. He has a Stalker in the main, but the Reaper will bypass the Stalker, will slip into the main base, gets eyes on the Robo, and should barely catch... Oh, oof. Does get a probe, doesn't see the Twilight Council, but the Robo is enough of a tell. He does see the second gateway. Did I say second gateway? I meant to say the 4th gateway. There are 2 gates at the natural, 2 gates in the main. It is going to be 4-gate Blink Stalker. Let's go. And Spirit, again, even though he didn't see the Twilight Council, he saw all the gates. That is everything he needs to see. He now knows to prepare back at home. We have tanks on the way. We have a mine drop coming in. The mine drop will just confirm the scouting. Will confirm what has been spotted. Also, it was 3 gates in the main and 1 in the natural. I got it mixed up. But 4 gates nonetheless. As here we go. Medevac is getting ready to go in. That's actually pretty important to point out, actually. Only 3 gates have been seen here by Spirit. He didn't see the 4th gateway, so he's a little bit in the dark as to what's going on. 3 gates does typically mean you expand behind it. And here we go. Rostok is moving out. That drop getting ready to go in. Meanwhile, back at home, Spirit, he's taking this seriously. We have a bunker, tanks, bunker, 2 bunkers even. Oh my god, 2 bunkers on the low ground. Spirit taking this very seriously. And here we go. The drop comes in. Rostok, does he react? He does not react. No, the probes! The retargeting. 7 workers go down, and now the pressure is on Rostok. He has to do some counter damage. He has to equalize somehow, some way. He has blink. He has high ground vision. The main base is looking quite large. Already, Spirit preemptively pulling the boys. But we blink into the main. Depot goes down. And we can't quite cover that mineral line. Spirit, he has to pull the pull back from that mineral line from the main. As we blink on forward, we take down the first tank. Oof. But Rostok, he takes a lot of hits. A lot of stalkers go down, and he's pinned. There's no way out, and this is going to be a heavy loss here for our Protoss player. He's getting some SCVs, yes, but again, those mines, they get more shots off. GG gets called, and Spirit takes the game. And he's still our King of the Hill. GG. GG, well played. Again, a really solid setup there from Spirit. 3 bunkers, 2 tanks, and again, able to react quite well here, making sure that he pulls the boys. And Rostok just was a little bit too adventurous with his attack. I say that there was a lot of pressure on Rostok, right? Because of the mine drop, because it was a 4 gate as well. Rostok, he had to make something happen there. He had to commit, whether it means pushing even further into the main or maybe rotating over to the natural. You know, he had options, definitely, but the pressure was on the Protoss to make something happen there in that situation, and alas, did overextend, did get caught out, and Spirit shuts him down. GG, well played. With that, Spirit gets his 2nd win. Takes down ByuN, takes down Rostok. Who is next? Who is next? Who else can step up and bring down Spirit? If ByuN couldn't do it, who can? Who can? Who haven't we seen yet today? Cristiano, there's plenty of Polish Protoss players out there that we could delve into. Cristiano, of course, Jomek, Mana, potentially Mana. I know Kelazur, he was an OSC Elite member for a while, but I think he was gifted it because of his performance in the tournament. So I don't know if Kelazur is still a member. I'm not too sure. I know Special is Juanito. Special is an option. Could come out. And Max Pax is another one. I wonder if Max Pax is lying in wait. The other thing to bear in mind is that ESL Open Cup Asia, when does that start? When is that weekly? 2 hours. Okay, 2 hours. Plenty of time. I was like, you know, some of these other European players, they may be thinking about ESL Open Cup Europe, and they may not have time for this, but it's still 2 hours away, so nah, they got plenty of time to play some more StarCraft. It's all good. These events, they shouldn't clash. Oh, and here we go. We have our next challenger. A pretty appropriate one, I think. We have a TVT sniper. We've given him a lot of praise in the past. It is going to be, once again, actually, a team kill, now that I think about it. It is going to be Nicoract. Here we go, Psystorm versus Psystorm. And for those who maybe aren't too familiar with Nicoract, he is known for his TVT. There's a little bit of history between Nicoract and ByuN in these OSC King of the Hills. I mentioned earlier that when it comes to ByuN, and he's a regular in these events, and it's very difficult for him to have these like 15 map win streaks, because players like Nicoract stand in his way. Nicoract, he has taken down ByuN plenty of times in these best of one formats, so I do think he's going to be a good challenger here for Spirit. Here we go. Oh, my apologies. It's not a team kill. I forgot. My apologies. It is not Psystorm versus Psystorm. As Nicoract, for WTL, he was picked up by another team. Yeah. It did slip my mind, but that did happen, I think a month ago, or a couple of weeks ago at this point. Here we go, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Hardlead. We have the blue Terran player representing Twisted Minds. Not Psystorm Gaming, it is Nicoract. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the current king of the hill, the Polish Terran player. It is Spirit. For Psystorm Gaming. But yeah, my apologies. So, for those wondering, Twisted Minds, if you're unfamiliar with the team, they, for a long time, for the majority of this year, they sponsored Classic. Classic was their one and only player, and they still do, of course, support Classic quite well. I'm sure he's very happy with his team. They even supported him going to Gamers 8, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's been really cool that they've been able to support Classic. But for this most recent season of World Team League of WTL, they needed extra players to actually compete, and they did compete in the qualifiers of World Team League. And they signed players like Nicoract. They signed Young Yakov as well. I think that was the lineup. It was Classic, Nicoract, and Young Yakov. A pretty solid lineup, not gonna lie. Young Yakov, he popped off, by the way. If you missed out on the qualifiers of WTL, we did cast them on this channel. We cast everything. But we did cover the qualifiers on the CranKy Ducklings. Young Yakov and Nicoract both looking very impressive. And yeah, it was really cool to see Twisted Minds invest and broaden their team. But unfortunately, they did not qualify for World Team League. They got 4th place in the qualifiers in Code A, and you had to get 3rd place. Top 3 made it into Code S, and Twisted Minds barely didn't make the cutoff. So it was a bit of a shame. Was bittersweet to see Mystery Gaming advance on, and Kwangdong Freaks advance on, and Twisted Minds not make the cut. Was a little bit sad, but regardless, Nicoract, I'm sure, happy with his new team. Plenty of support, and we'll see what he brings to the table here against Spirit. We can see Spirit setting up a double gas opener into a CC on location. Nicoract going for a 1-1-1. This is almost the beginnings of a 1-base Solin, a very late expansion from Nicoract, a very fast starport from our blue Terran. Let's go. Hyper aggression coming out. This, I believe, is the coffee opener. Basically, Reapers, Hellions, and I almost said Cyclone. Liberator. Liberator should be coming out here for Nicoract. Hyper aggression, nothing but units. The goal here to move out across the map to break the natural, bust into the main, and get, or just, eviscerate the economy of Spirit. It's very committed. We should be expanding. There should be a CC behind this, if I'm not mistaken. Again, it's been a while since I've seen the coffee build, or this variation of the build. As we're just, pumping out more Reapers and more Hellions. Let's go. For the time being, Spirit is unawares. He didn't SCV scout. He, of course, didn't Reaper scout. Reaper scouts are not very common in TVT. You don't want to be losing your first Reaper, which is what happened to ByuN, actually. I didn't really get to talk about that, but there's a reason why you don't send out your first Reaper, and that's because if you lose it, then things can just escalate very quickly and snowball out of control. And here we go. CC is thrown down on location as Nicoract moves out across the map. Looking at the units tab, it's going to be 4 Hellions, 5 Reapers, and 1 Liberator. Can he break Spirit? Can he break Spirit? Let's go. Oh, we have 2 defensive Cyclones. We managed to get some lock-ons coming in as well. We do focus down one of them, but Nicoract is losing a bit too much. The Cyclone's adding so much DPS. The boys are being pulled. We still have 3 Reapers remaining, but we get 1 SCV. At the same time, Liberator doesn't quite move in, or did go down, actually. Oh my god. And yes, Spirit, he doesn't lose much of anything, but the Reapers are not done. They do dive into the main base, and they're getting a couple of SCVs. Yeah, 4 SCVs are going to be going down. Not bad, but alas, we will lose everything. Spirit does maintain control of his bases. He has an orbital, and Nicoract still working on his own natural. Aye. And that was not really what Nicoract wanted. That was the entire army thrown away. And for what? Looking at the units lost tab, we got 4 SCVs. We traded with the army. But you can see Nicoract lose so much gas, and now Spirit has map control. Now he's moving out. Interference Matrix has completed for both players. But I worry for Nicoract quite a lot here. 1 disable, and what does Nicoract have left? Oh boy. And there it is. We disable the 1 tank, throw down an auto turret. We do get a lock on the Raven. Spirit getting in position, and it looks like we don't have enough energy for another disable. Spirit, he is going to be able to hold on. I mean, sorry, Nicoract is going to be able to hold on. Spirit doesn't overextend, though. He still maintains his position. Still holds on to his Ravens. Nicoract is behind, but he's not dead. Thankfully. Thankfully, Nicoract is not dead. He's able to survive here on 2 bases. Behind this, Spirit throws down a 3rd CC. Nicoract likewise throwing down his own. Spirit just taking advantage of this position. Depots are going to be going down. And Nicoract can't really stop this. What can he do? Yeah, he just has to give up on this position, pull back. As Spirit edges closer. Taking down the reactor as well. The reactor, another depot. Oh, he's within range of the racks? Aye. That's brutal. Meanwhile, Nicoract, he ignores the army. Let's go. He's going to be moving out. Spirit does spot this. Getting a couple of hits in with those Vikings. And I wonder, is Spirit just going to move in? We totally could. He has the option. Yeah, we just ignore the army and we just push on forward. The boys have to be pulled once again. Disable on the tank. Nicoract is going to be coming in from behind. And who has caught who? Oh, as the auto turrets are running out, and Nicoract, he will clean up this army. But for a big price. 15 workers, 15 SCVs went down. The boys had to be pulled to pull off this defense. And Nicoract's economy is in the gutter. We're down to 36 SCVs. Oh no! Spirit, calm down. Snipes another Raven. Being a little bit cheeky with that Viking. Back at home, Spirit, he's getting his 3rd orbital up and running. He's building up his tank count, Vikings, more Marines. Spirit, he's just getting further and further ahead. Meanwhile, Nicoract, again, he has been surviving. He has been dealing with these attacks and dealing with these pushes, but the problem is that every single time Nicoract pulls off a defense, it's always at the cost of workers, and as a result, his economy is struggling. His production, likewise, is struggling. 1-1 is on the way for Spirit. Nicoract stuck on 0-0, no E-base whatsoever. Stim is also done for Spirit as well. The one advantage that Nicoract has is his Raven count. He has 3 Ravens to the 2 of Spirit, but we have Vikings to zone them away. But here we go. We do disable. 2-3 disables go off. Nicoract pushing on forward. The boys, they have to be pulled. But the Vikings, they can land on this army, and Nicoract is going to lose everything. The tanks go down. The Ravens as well. Nicoract did get 15 SCVs, but he is very vulnerable. The economy is... Like, I was about to get into some cope about the economy and like the worker count's evening up, but GG gets called, Nicoract taps out, and Spirit is still our king of the hill. GG. it was all or nothing there for Nicoract. Like, he had to end the game then and there. Outside of that, he was just far behind in almost every other aspect, in upgrades, in army, in economy. GG, well played. Congratulations to Spirit as he continues his reign of terror. Is it a reign of terror? Is it a just reign? How would Spirit be as a leader? Uncertain. I mean, he looked after his workers for the most part, until the end, I should say. Until the end. As Spirit does claim another win. And who comes out next? Who comes out next? We've already burned through so many players. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourself at the Wikipedia page, where you can find a list of all the matches that we've already had. And oh, we are more than halfway done. The time flies when you're casting StarCraft. I didn't even notice, but that was our 10th match. That was our 10th match out of 15. 5 best of ones are left. 5 left. 5 players remaining to stop Spirit. Can anyone bring him down? Can anyone stop this man? Oh boy. Who haven't we seen? We haven't seen a lot of the Sea Boys. You know, I'm thinking Mia, Demi. Who else? I don't think Ender is a member of OSC. Oh, I don't think Ender's a member of OSC, but who else am I thinking of? We had HonMonO, we had Nice. Yeah, Mia, and Demi, they're the 2 that come to mind. They haven't shown themselves yet, and I'm hoping that we get to see some Mia action at some point tonight. I'm hoping. When it comes to the NA players, Trigger, he shows up every now and then as well. But I know at the moment, it's a really bad time for North America. I mean, I say that. I think the NA region is waking up at the moment, so potentially some Trigger action. Wouldn't be opposed to it. Who else? When it comes to the Koreans, Nightmare is a regular. We haven't seen Nightmare yet. I know it's getting a little bit late in Korea, so I don't know how many of the South Koreans are going to be available to compete. But there's Nightmare, potentially Solar as well, potentially. He's more of a rarity in OSC King of the Hill. Oh, and it looks like we have our next player. It may take a little bit, though. It may take a little bit. For those wondering, because we are playing on the NA region, especially when it comes to a lot of the Europeans that are hopping over, they do have to patch the game. It's quite an annoyance, unfortunately, and hopefully it'll be resolved soon with the patch going live in Europe and in Korea. But at the moment, if you try to log on to NA, you have to download the patch, and then if you go back to EU or back to Korea, you have to download an older version of the game. So you have to download another patch again, basically, and you have to keep downloading back and forth when you hop regions. And because of that, that is why we do need a little bit of time for our competing players to get things ready and to hop over. So it's all good. We'll give them as much time as they need. It's all good. But it is something that we do have to be dealing with, at least for now, for this week of StarCraft, until eventually all the regions get up to the same version of the game. You know, why don't we just patch everything at the same time? Look, like the Blizzard intern, he's putting in some overtime. Okay, he's doing his best. He's doing his best. Smooch, papi, smooch. Imagine thinking the patch will ever go live on EU and Korea. True, true. Smooch. See the chat. Did Spirit take down ByuN? Yes, yes he did. He was the one to stop ByuN in his path. Will the EU Weekly be on the new patch? It will not. It will not. If you follow ESL on Twitter, they did explain that The Korean weekly and the European weekly will be on the old patch. The NA weekly will be on the new patch. So yeah, it sounds like the ESL organizers have decided that, you know, again, these weeklies are supposed to be server friendly for their dedicated regions, so they're going to be staying on those regions like Korea, EU, and NA. I know a lot of the other online events like WTL, KSL, ourselves included, have been hosting online events specifically and solely on NA just for the patch and just for the maps, but that will not be the case for the ESL Open Cups. As far as I know, Dimitri explained that, not ESL. I mean, he is one and the same, But yes. Shout out to Sinistro, of course. Big shout out to Sinistro. Is the head admin over in ESL. The big hancho, if you will. And here we go. We have our next contender. We have our next map as well for the first time actually tonight. Here we go. It is going to be another TVT between Spirit and Kaz. Let's go. Papa Kaz is coming out. The alter ego of DIMAGA. You've got Papa DIMAGA and Papa Kaz, each for their respective races, and our map is gonna be Alcyone. Sorry, no, God, I keep saying it. It's Alcyone. That's it. I remember initially I said Alcyon, right? It's Alcyone. Did get confirmation earlier. Greek, named after the Greek goddess, if I'm not mistaken. It's Alcyone and Hecate. Both maps are made by the same person, and both maps are named after Greek goddesses. Fun fact. And here we go. We are loading on in to our next TVT. Again, we're counting down the players till the end of the tournament. 5 players remain. And here comes our next contender, but spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alcyone, we have our current King of the Hill. With 3 wins under his belt, representing Psystorm Gaming, it is Spirit. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Red Terran player representing Team Starcom. It is Kaz. Here we go, the Ukrainian Terran. Catching up with the chat. English-based people pronouncing stuff wildly. Yeah. Look, we don't have to have a discussion about how English words sometimes sound one way and sometimes sound another way. It's fine. Don't worry about it, Poppy. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Regardless, we're getting into our openers and interesting stuff here. So Kaz is going to be going for a double gas opener, so a little bit more aggressive here by our Red Terran. Meanwhile, our Blue Terran, our King, is going for a Rax Expand, so an economic opener out of our Blue Terran, something a little bit more aggressive out of our Red. As this is a really interesting map here. So Alcyone does have an entire section of the map that is walled off. Fun fact, here on the right hand side, you have to mine through these mineral patches or break through these rocks as well, either here in the center of right or the center of the map, to actually gain access to any of this section. Of course, you can just drop onto the other side, or like lift up a CC and float it over as well. But for the most part, this section is just sealed off. Very Golden Wall-esque, for those of you that were around a couple of years ago in a previous rendition of the game, in a previous map pool. Golden Wall was very similar, and I believe was the first use of this concept from my recollection. I don't know if there were, I mean, you know, island bases were a thing in the past, and this is like a pseudo island base, I guess, just like a walled off section of the map. Interesting to get it back once again. The other big feature, of course, is the Xel'Naga. The Xel'Naga in the center covers everything. It's pretty insane, but the entire center attack path and this entire center area of the map is covered by this Xel'Naga. And again, because this area is walled off, this isn't really an attack path either, at least in the early game or in the mid game even either. So yeah, control of the Xel'Naga is pretty important when it comes to keeping up with the army movement of your opponent. And again, TVT is all about army positioning and map control. Behind this, of course, we do have our 1-1-1 setup by Kaz, getting from his racks into his factory, into his starport as well, working towards his CC as a follow-up. Meanwhile, Spirit, he's already done with his orbital. Again, we mentioned earlier it was an economic opener out of Spirit. Back at home, he's getting into safety cyclones. We have our first cyclone. Second cyclone is on the way. Again, they are cheaper, and I would say that here in TVT in the early game, they are a pretty key unit here, defensively, I should say, as Kaz is pushing in, and again, Spirit is ready for it. Now, Kaz could potentially break this position, especially with splash damage, but here we go. The Reapers do dive into the main base. They do come across some of these Marines, though. One Reaper goes down. Ooh, a second Reaper goes down as well. 2 Reapers for 2 Marines. Not the best trade for Kaz. Behind this, Ravens are on the way for both players. Again, getting into our standard setup here in TVT. For those wondering, we do have a new upgrade in the game. I say a new upgrade, it's for an old ability, Interference Matrix. Again, we mentioned earlier, but Interference Matrix is no longer an ability that comes with the Raven. You do have to research it instead, and it is on the way for Spirit. And I hope Kaz knows that. The disable is a pretty important part of TVT, the Raven dynamic with the tanks. And we haven't started it here. It's possible that Kaz doesn't have a lot of experience on the new map pool. I am concerned. That's a pretty big deal. And hopefully Kaz starts it soon. Hopefully. I wonder if we're gonna enter like a moment where a fight happens and Kaz isn't able to cast it, and then immediately we see the upgrade. No, no! He's going for, oh, he doesn't know. Oh no, this is not good. We do have an add-on switch, which means no tech lab on the starport, which means we will not be researching Interference Matrix. I do think that is a mistake. I don't think that we're intentionally avoiding it, which means Kaz only has the auto turrets and the anti-armor missile available. Oh boy, here we go. Spirit is going to be moving out. Likewise, so is Kaz. Oh, don't try to disable. Don't do it. Aye. Regardless, back at home, he's getting his third base on location. And again, we're not really set up for it, so in a big way, I feel like these Ravens aren't anywhere near as useful as they otherwise could be here for Kaz. They're kind of paperweights. I mean, the auto turrets, they can be useful in a fight, and they have to be useful here for Kaz. As Spirit already has his third CC up and running in his main, could be floating it and landing it over at the third. Pushing on forward, coming across the army here of Kaz. Again, he has control of the Xel'Naga. He sees, he knows. Spirit, he catches the Marines, and he's looking to chase everything else down. He catches a tank. No! Tank gets caught out as well, and Kaz is woefully out of position. There is nothing back at home to defend, and Spirit is going to beat him back home. Aye. Yeah, the third base of Kaz is going to be exposed, and it may just go down. Thankfully, Stim isn't done, but the CC is going to be taking a lot of hits. Oh, is it going to go down? Up! It's going to be close, and it will fall. Kaz knocked down to 2 bases. Aye. Going to be restarting his third CC. Meanwhile, Spirit happily mining from his own third. Spirit is going to be backing off and rotating over. Again, thankfully we do have a lot of air control here for Kaz with all these Vikings, so it's difficult for Spirit to really engage, as Kaz does have actually an even worker count, sorry, an even Viking count. And here we go, we get our disables, auto targets are thrown down, but Spirit may just have too much. As he's pushing on through, there's one tank left, and the tank does get focused down. And Kaz will be losing everything else. GG gets called. Spirit takes down Kaz, claiming another victim, and he will maintain his throne. He's still a king of the hill. GG. GG. A solid game there out of Spirit. I'm not going to ask Kaz. I do think it's a little bit rude to like message a player, especially after a loss. But I'm pretty sure Kaz didn't intend to not research interference matrix. I think that was just a bit of a slip up. I mean, on top of that, even if he had it, like, this was still a really solid game out of Spirit, and Kaz just getting caught out of position, just being caught out on the map as well, was a rough game for him. And GG, congratulations to Spirit, as he does get another win under his belt. Oh boy. And again, we are counting down the players. That was player 5. We have 4 left. 4 players remaining to stop Spirit. Oh boy, who's next? Who is next? We've had DIMAGA, we've had Kaz. I'm feeling at some point we have to have a Christiana, right? I feel like it wouldn't be an OSC King of the Hill without Christiana. It wouldn't be an OSC King of the Hill without Demi. Demi is another player that we see quite often, and I do see him online. He's been online for a while now, so I wonder if he's going to be available. Who else is going to come out of the woodwork to face off against Spirit? We're here to find out. We are here to find out. The other thing, which we typically don't do anymore, is if we do run out of unique players, again, we have 15 unique players, if we, for whatever reason, can't find another unique player, then we can recycle players as well. I don't think that's happened for a while, though. I think typically we do have plenty of players available, but, you know, if that situation does arise, then we could see a returning player from before. Are we going to be seeing another ByuN? I remember that happened last year. I think it was last year. We did a 24-hour OSC King of the Hill marathon. It was amazing. It was myself. It was the CranKy Ducklings. I think it was the CranKy Ducklings, Wardy, Steadfast, and I think Chicken Man. And basically we had like 4-hour or like 6-hour runs where we would just like hand off to each other and just keep the tournament going. And I remember Bly. He went on on a tear. He played a bunch of games, got a bunch of wins. Then when he got knocked out, he went to bed, he went to sleep, and when he woke up, he played again. Woke up just in time to go back into the ring and play once again in OSC King of the Hill. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. But I'd love to have that again. I'd love for that to be like an annual thing. That 24-hour King of the Hill. Crazy. I think it was for I think it was a special 100th edition of OSC King of the Hill or something along those lines. Let me just double check who casted. Who did we rotate between? It was the CranKy Ducklings, it was Chicken Man, it was Tempo, Biomorph, and some drunk Canadian. Okay, there were 5 of us. All covering the event. It's beautiful. When was this? Oh, Jesus, 2021. Over a year ago. Time flies, man. Time flies. Jesus. Time flies. It was November of 2021. I'm telling you, all these years, they blend together. Oh, meanwhile, we do have our next player, and oh, as I was mentioning it, I was just talking to fill time. But okay, it looks like we do have a revived player. So it looks like we've kind of gone through everyone and we don't have any other unique player available. So Gerald is coming back in. Oh boy. Would we see a return of ByuN if we no shot? Will he have his chance at revenge? Maybe. We'll see. That would be amazing. As we are getting into this. Oh. And there we go. Spawning in the top right hand corner of Hecate. We have... Wait, was it Hecate or Hecate? Hecate. Yeah. We have the Polish Protoss player representing Storm Gaming. It is Gerald. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Terran player representing Storm Gaming, the current king of the hill. It is Spirit. Here we go. Gerald, he did attempt earlier on this very map, actually. He attempted to bring down ByuN and did end up, or was unsuccessful in his attempts and did end up failing against ByuN, but now he has a chance here at Redemption. He has a chance to bring down Spirit instead. Now, if you remember, in that game against ByuN, Gerald did go for a proxy 2-gate here on the right-hand side, again to kind of disrupt and delay the economy of ByuN. This time, we have a gateway back at home instead. So a much more standard opener here out of our Polish Protoss player. As the probe comes in for a bit of a scout, does confirm the economic opener out of Spirit. It is going to be a rack expand out of our Terran player. And Gerald is going to be trying to delay that for as long as he can, just being as annoying as possible. Trying to delay that CC. Forces out a second SCV and the CC is thrown down. Marine pops out as well, is looking to just cut off that probe and will be able to shut it down. As Gerald attempts to go for a bit of a scout as well with its last few moments, just getting a read on what is going on, as it is going to be a factory follow-up, which is important to take note of, as I believe it will not see that. But as we can see, it isn't going to be a racks it isn't going to be a racks expand into a 3 racks. It is going to be a factory followed by, you know, either a starport or another barracks. Meanwhile, back at home, Gerald's going for a gate cyber expand, so very economic opener here out of Gerald. Likewise, economic out of Spirit. Standard early game so far. Zealot comes in to try to delay that CC. But we have a Reaper in position, a Marine as well. And the Zealots will chase this SCV down, but the SCV will survive. And really, we only delay the CC for a couple of seconds. Now we have the follow-up. Now we have the Adept. The Adept is here to finish off what the Zealot started. But I think it's a little bit too little too late. Yeah, the CC will complete. And Spirit will not be delayed any longer. Meanwhile, across the map, Gerald is going to be going for a Stargate opener. Stargate will be his tech of choice. I imagine to get into Phoenix's. Again, it does feel like Hecate has become one of those more standard macro-oriented maps. You can get up to 4 bases relatively easily on this map as well. So Phoenix Colossus does make a lot of sense, but as I talk about Phoenix Colossus, no, we do have an Oracle first out of Gerald. Okay. Oh, you have my attention. As Gerald is not going Phoenix Colossus at all. That is a Twilight Council follow-up, not a Robo. Okay. As the Adept's continuing to threaten those shades and does shade into the main. Will commit, will get eyes on the production, does confirm the lack of additional Raxes. Oof, even forces some friendly fire in the mineral line. That's a lot of weakened SCVs. As the Oracle is going to be coming in from behind. And there it is. We're going for Blink. Okay, I assumed it was going to be Charge. But no, we go in Oracle first. We do not make any more Skytoss units. No additional Oracles, no additional Phoenixes. We're going straight into Blink Stalkers instead. This is an interesting move out of Gerald, and he's very vulnerable at the moment. So, typically when you go for a Stargate opener, when you get Phoenixes, you gain map control, right? Your Phoenixes, they shut down drop play, and they can help defend against these early game pushes. Likewise with Blink Stalker openers. But because we're like shifting gears and shifting tech, we actually have neither. We don't have Blink Stalkers or Phoenixes. So Spirit is pushing in, and he has potential with this push. He's going to be reinforcing here with a second Cyclone. With that medevac as well. There is no shield battery, and Gerald, he's in a bit of trouble. Stalker goes down, and we may even be able to deny this third. At the same time, Oracle gets in. 5 SCVs go down, a good amount of economic damage, but can Gerald hold on to this base? The good unborrow there from Spirit, avoiding the bait out on that mine shot, and yeah, this Nexus is gonna go down. Ay, ay, ay. Stalkers, they try to come in from behind, but the lock-on is too good. The medevac survives! No! Blink is still not done. A Phoenix comes in, but it's too late. That Nexus is gonna fall. A big blow to the economy here of Gerald. Spirit has already done so much with this push. Can he cancel it and get no shot? No shot. He's going for it again! Ah! He's gonna get it. Another cancel on the Nexus. Blink is done. Geralt will clean this up. Eventually. God, but 10 workers go down. A kill on the third and a cancel on top of it as well. Oof. And now the pressure is on our Protoss player. We need to get some damage done across the map, but back at home, we have plenty of Marines, we have a tank, a bunker, second tank on the way, third TC is done. Geralt, he can try to at least contain his opponent. That's maybe the best he can hope for. Otherwise, he does have high ground vision. He's looking to blink into the main. He doesn't like what he sees, though. He goes for it anyway. Here we go. We do have a tank in position, but he is within range of that CC. Stim isn't done. Oof. As he does bleed out a Stalker. But he's able to, I think he got one Marine, and again, he delays the CC a little bit longer, I guess. Behind this, we're working towards charge. We have our splash damage of choice. It is not going to be Colossus or Disruptors. It's going to be Storm with that Templar Archives. As Spirit is leapfrogging forward with these tanks, getting in position and taking his third. And now Spirit has Stim, has Combat Shields, and Concussive Shell as well. He has an army that can punish these Stalkers without just relying on those tanks. Oh, and this could get awkward. Spirit is getting ready for a move out. Likewise, Geralt is pushing in, but okay, Spirit does rotate around. Proxy Gateway has finished up. Geralt getting ready for his own attack. A base trade could be potentially his best option. Oh, but he could actually find some tanks. Up! The tanks are exposed. One tank does go down. Oh, but that's a lot of Zealots. That's a lot of Zealots getting shaved off. 7 Zealots go down. The proxy as well. Geralt attempting to take this forward base. I'm not too sure if I like this. This is not the first time that Geralt has attempted to expand here. This is a very exposed fourth here on the low ground. At the same time, Viking drop. Viking lands in the main. And Vikings do a surprising amount of damage to SCVs. 5 SCVs! Oh my god. And as Spirit moves out, he does get eyes on the fourth, but he doesn't care about the fourth. He pushes forward. The Storm is not done. These High Templar, they can do nothing. They can feedback, and that is it. Rough timing for our Protoss player. As the army stims on forward. Zealots coming from behind, but they don't get the tanks. Storm just now finishes. Good storms, but that's all there was. There's nothing else left. GG gets called. And Spirit will take down Gerald, and once again is still our King of the Hill. GG. GG. Again, solid game out of Spirit. He's one of the best Terrans that Europe has to offer, and Geralt, again, he did look a little bit better here compared to ByuN, for example. The game against ByuN was a little bit more brutal. But alas, that push from Spirit was, yeah, really punishing as to what Geralt had gone for. To wind it back, if you remember, Geralt, he opened up Stargate, went for an Oracle, and then shifted gears into a Twilight Council. And as we were saying at the time, what this means is that there's a big window where an otherwise standard opener would have had Blink or would have had more Phoenixes to deal with that push. Because Geralt had switched his tech, like, there was just nothing ready for that move out, and Geralt had a really hard time dealing with, what was it, 2 Cyclones, a handful of Marines, a Widowmine, a Medevac, a bit of a kitchen sink. But again, he just didn't really have much to deal with it, and yeah, he lost his third twice, and that was more than enough to set him behind and to give Spirit a really big advantage. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we have our next player that is getting ready here for our next game. It looks like we start to determine who that player is going to be, so we may just go on a short break. May just go on a short break here in preparation for our next game. Okay, oh, never mind. Okay, we have our next player. A player that we haven't casted in a long time. It's been, I almost said years. It's been months? Hold on. Let me just double check. He's a player that we used to champion quite a lot. He actually spent some time in Korea practicing, training. He was there for other reasons. I think he was studying at the time. But I wonder if you caught on to who I'm talking about. It is going to be the Polish Protoss player. It is going to be Art. Let's go. Let's go. It's been a very long time since we've casted Art. He used to be a lot more active. He used to be a very active player. As I mentioned before, it was pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, he was in Korea and he was playing in all these ESL Open Cups and he was improving so much. But he did step away. He did step away from the game. I want to say last year. Like, he was less active in 2020. 2022, like towards the second half of 2022 and the first half of 2023 as well. It's a bit of a shame. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Art has been focusing a little bit more on IRL commitments. But I miss him. I miss him quite a bit. It's been a while, Poppy. It's been a while. I'm just checking his Wikipedia. He has been competing in the Aristry Championship, yes. And, okay, he has been a little bit more active here and there, just competing in some regional events more than anything. And some OSC King of the Hills. Okay. Mainly OSC King of the Hill, actually. Now that I'm looking at his results. So, I'm glad to see him here once again. I mentioned before that we typically have plenty of Polish Protoss players available and we are able to feature them. We have been getting quite a bit of Geralt, but now we have some Art. Let's go. We have some Art as well. I think he was in Korea at the beginning of COVID. Yeah. Like around that era, like 2020, 2021. For quite some time. Oh, meanwhile, if we were talking about you. Demi, where have you been, Papi? Where have you been? I do see Demi in the chat. Hello, Chaldan. Hello. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Welcome. Send in live VIP. Kappa, Kappa. That was a pretty sick event. I see. Yo, shout out to Cynical in the chat. Cynical Death. He is one of the admins over at Wikipedia. Big fan, big contributor to the StarCraft scene. Much love. I believe Cynical is updating the Wikipedia page tonight. It was after 83. There we go. There we go. After 83. Yeah, it would be really cool if we had that again. It was a really I loved it because it was like an event that all these other community casters came together to like work towards and like support each other on, because we would just like raid each other like back and forth. It was really cool. One day you're playing StarCraft Brood War and the next you're playing Legacy of the Void. Oh, the years, they all blend together. Smoge. I want to see more variations, like 10 minerals and 1 gas, or 3 gas and 6 mineral patches. Ay. You're crazy, Bobby. You're crazy. It is always nice whenever we mix them in, you know. We never go too crazy, right? With like speed zones and slow zones and like different like mineral patches and gas geysers. You know, we want to try to maintain some balance and some like, you know, society, some some standards. But every now and then, you know, we get something crazy. It's always fun. Oh, and here we go. We have our next game. We have our next matchup. Once again, a TVP. Let's go. Not me today. All credit goes to Tommy Gun. Oh, nice. Shout out to Tommy Gun in the chat. Shout out. Oof. To all the Wikipedia editors. Unsung heroes of the StarCraft scene. But here we go. We're getting into our next game. We're getting into our next match, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the Polish Protoss player representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Art. Our next challenger, our next contender, and spawning in the top left hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the Polish Terran player representing Storm Gaming, the current king of the hill with 5 wins under his belt. Just updating that. It is Spirit. Here we go. You mentioned, of course, earlier that Gerald was revived, but here we are featuring a new player tonight in Art. Of course, another Polish Protoss player, Pink, this time Pink, you love to see it, and we'll see how he can slip up Spirit. Again, they are, of course, countrymen, and they're very familiar with each other, I'm sure. In recent times, the few times that I have been having the luxury of casting Art, we have been seeing him actually be quite cheeky and aggressive with his builds. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to how he differs from a player like Gerald. Gerald, of course, being a little bit more prominent in the region at the moment. He is, I would say, a more active player. But skill-wise, Art is definitely up there as well. As we're setting up for a Gate Cyber Expand. Standard setup here from Art. Likewise, Spirit going for a Rax Expand as well. Economic opener from both players. So nothing crazy in the early game. As we load into Oceanborn. Oh, hello. I didn't even realize that was there. Okay. It's like a little like bailing fish? Question mark? Hello there. I feel like if I touch it, it's going to explode. Doesn't look safe. I was going to say it looks like a Scourge kind of, but not really. Like it's a Baling in the air, but it's not quite a Scourge. It's its own being. It's beautiful. As we're getting into our openers, nothing too crazy yet. We do see our tech of choice from Art. It is going to be a Twilight Council, not a Stargate. So already diverging away from how Gerald played in that previous game. Reaper gets across the map, just going to be harassing, but is going to be shut down or pushed away by this Adept. With this Twilight Council opener, it should be Blink, and then we'll be keeping an eye on how many gateways get thrown down. I'm being brought back to Rostok earlier. Rostok did go for a 4-gate Blink opener against his previous opponent. Meanwhile, Art, oh, hello there. The Twilight Council is done. Blink is not here. Are we going for a Proxy Dark Shrine? Let's go! Proxy Dark Shrine on the way out of Art. And this is what I mentioned earlier. The few times that we have casted Art over the past couple of months, it's usually some crazy stuff like this, like some really cheeky, aggressive builds. I'm not saying he's a cheesy player, but in recent times, that's kind of the vibe that he's been giving up. And this is something you don't see too often in this matchup. And there's a reason for that. The reason why we don't see DT openers too often is because Raven openers from the Terran are quite common. And as I say that, we have an add-on swap, and Spirit is going for a Raven. Oh, no, never mind! Cloak Banshee! He's crazy! Okay. Wait, we're playing some StarCraft. Spirits, instead of going for a Raven, he's going for Cloak Banshee. He's committing very hard to this, and this is going to be a double-edged sword. Both players are going for invisible units, and these DTs, they're going to hit first. The Dark Templar will hit first. Now, it's not like Ravens are the only thing that have detection. Obviously, we have scans, right? Scans are available as well for Spirit. And if he does hold on to his energy, then he can deal with these Dark Templar. Meanwhile, behind this, we do have Blink on the way. Now, bearing in mind, Blink is delayed because of the Dark Shrine. So, as a result, Art will have a harder time dealing with early game aggression. He'll have a harder time dealing with these Banshees. And here we go, the first invisible way. No, the turret finishes. Oh, the turret finishes just in time. The first DT goes down. This opener has not been worth it here for Art. Not yet. As I mentioned before, because of this Dark Shrine, Blink is late. And because Blink is late, this Banshee could do a lot more damage. I'm concerned. Observer is on the way. Cloak is done, but it looks like maybe Spirit wants to wait for the second Banshee. So he is going to give Art a little bit more time here to actually finish up Blink and have a more mobile Blink Stalker force. Third base has been spotted. Again, Banshee waiting for its brethren. Waiting for its second to show up. Now, for those wondering, this is a bit of a power spike for Banshee play because 2 Banshees do one-shot workers. So there's a reason why Spirit wanted to wait for this. But because he waited, there we go, Blink is done. Stalkers are back at home at least. The Observer is across the map, unfortunately. So it is going to have to be recalled back home, or we have to chrono out another Observer. Oh, do we have a recall available? We do at the third base, but here we go. The Banshees have arrived and workers are going down one after the other. Another Observer's on the way, but the damage has been done. 10 workers go down and we're not done. Nowhere close. 13, 14, 15, and counting. The Observer was recalled back to the third base. We will clean this up, but not before 23 probes go down. 24. 24 and a half. Oh boy. And that is game-ending damage. Now, we do have Blink on the way. We have Shadow Stride for those Dark Templar. We have 2 DTs across the map. Can these DTs kill 24 SCVs? Oh. As the DTs, they have been found out. They have been spotted. The jig is up, and Spirit is attempting to chase him down. At the same time, he does come across the Proxy Dark Shrine. Ooh, both DTs go down. Do we have... yeah. That was like the Hail Mary play for Art. If there were ever a way to come back, it would have been with that. GG gets called, and Spirit is our King of the Hill. He claims his 6th win. GG. Oh boy. That was beautiful. GG, well played. Spirit gambling a little bit with his Banshee opener, and he was able to just annihilate the mineral lines of Art, do game-ending damage, and unfortunately, as much as, or as exciting as the DT opener was, and again, I was very excited just because we very rarely get to see DT openers, we also got to see why, right? Even if we didn't have a Banshee opener, if we had a Raven, scans available, you know, Spirit happened to be opening up safely and going for a turret anyway, DTs, they have a hard time doing damage in this matchup this early on. No, later on in the mid game, in the mid to late game, we can talk about, you know, these big DT hit squads that blink in and they like one-shot planetaries. Sure, you know, DTs, they have their place at that stage of TVP, but early on, it is more of a gamble. It's more of a gamble to actually have them pay for themselves and get damage done. Regardless, GG, well played. Spirit continues his reign, and we do have our next opponent. I was alluding to him earlier. I did notice Demi in the chat, in Twitch chat, and also in game for the past couple of hours. He has been chilling, and he will be coming out next. Our next opponent, we're going to be taking a break from all these TVPs, and it's going to be a TVZ, Spirit versus Demi. Here we go. Just going to be setting up for it. And again, we are nearing the end of the broadcast. How many players do we have left? How many contenders does Spirit have to knock down before he is allowed to, you know, rest on his throne? It is looking to be two players left. We have Demi, and then one more challenger after that. One more would-be usurper to try to claim the throne that Spirit has held on to for oh so long. And again, Spirit, he has 6 wins under his belt. As a reminder, ByuN claimed 7. ByuN claimed 7 victims before he went down to Spirit. Spirit has 6. Demi potentially is going to be his 7th. And if Spirit can get one more win after that, then, you know, this week he will be the player with the most wins. He would have surpassed ByuN. He would have surpassed ByuN's win streak, which again would be very impressive. Very impressive. Oh, as we are going to be loading into a map that we have not seen yet today. It is going to be Site Delta. The green map, if you are unfamiliar. Like, Site Delta, what? Data C? Green map, yeah, let's go. And personally, I appreciate we're taking a bit of a break from the TVPs. It's a great matchup, don't get me wrong, but you know, we like some variety here, some diversity. And here we go. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have the Indian Zerg player representing Macherino Esports. The new contender, the would-be usurper, it is Demi. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the current king of the hill with 6 wins under his belt, representing Storm Gaming. It is Spirit. All green maps look the same to me. Ah, smooch. Not like this. As Demi's going to be setting up for a hatch gas pool. Very standard opener here from our Zerg player. Likewise, Spirit is going to be going for the racks on the high ground. So no 2 racks opener here from our Terran player. Something a little more standard. Ooh. As we are going to be remaking here. Yeah. We are going to be remaking. Looks like the players were just testing out one of the servers. Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if that's possible. Don't know if that's possible, but yes, we are going to be remaking. I'm not too sure why they thought this would be a good idea, but I just checked. They were on Singapore. No shot. Pretty sure Singapore is further away than US West for Spirit. So they are going to be rehosting on a different server. Oh. So all good, all good. We're more than willing to accommodate, of course. I'm surprised we're not going to... I'm surprised we're not going to US East. Demi from India, he actually has some decent ping to a lot of those servers. Maybe not East actually, but yeah, Demi's in a really interesting location. It's a discussion that happens a lot here in Southeast Asia, but Demi actually gets pretty good ping to EU, to Korea, and to NA. It's like the place to be if you're from the Southeast Asian region, for like ping everywhere. It's crazy. Like unlike some of the other like C players or Oceanic players, like Demi, he can actually ladder on EU, which is something that a lot of players are envious of. Oh. Latch is based in C. I'm here in Australia. Based in Australia. Australia, papi, Australia. Mate. But yeah, the players are just setting things up and making sure everything is as balanced as possible when it comes to the ping. You guys knew I just found you guys off of SC2 links. Oh, seems like you take a lot of inspiration from StarCraft. Not quite. We've been casting We've been casting regularly since 2019. I think we started casting in 2017. I think 2017, if I'm not mistaken. Been a while. It's been a couple of years. So yeah, I know that a lot of people are tuning in for the first time from like Wardy or Steadfast's stream, but we cast here on a daily basis, every single day. For example, yesterday we were casting World Team League. Yesterday we were casting Sparkling Tuna Cup, Grand Platypus Open. Day before that, more WTL. Day before that, more WTL. Tomorrow we're casting ESL Open Cup Americas, of course. Day after that, Kung Fu Cup. Every day we have StarCraft on the CranKy Ducklings. And sometimes we're live multiple times a day. Today would have been a good example. ESL Open Cup Asia was a couple of hours ago, and usually we also cast ESL Open Cup Asia, but this week or today I couldn't because of the patch. I couldn't quite download the old patch on the Korean server in time, so we weren't able to cast ESL Asia, which was a shame. But at least we're able to cover OSC King of the Hill. And here we go. We are getting into our next game once again on Site Delta. From the top, spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Site Delta, we have our Indian Zerg player representing Matcherino Esports. Our new challenger, our new contender, it is Demi. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the Polish Terran player representing Sidestorm Gaming, our new King of the Hill, it is Spirit. My Australian friend says they call an Artosis pilot an RDP, but I don't know if I believe him. What are you on about, mate? That sounds, maybe that's like a pig thing. Maybe Pig says that. Maybe? I don't know if that's even true. Yeah, I'm not gonna confirm that. But yeah, we've been casting StarCraft for many years at this point. Many years. We've been lucky enough to be a part of like I Am Katowice and all the Dream Hacks as well. We're usually a B stream over on ESL_SC2B and stuff like that. We do our parts. We do what we can. Basically, short rundown. We went full-time StarCraft. Basically, we've been casting StarCraft on a daily basis ever since COVID. Did end up quitting my full-time job. I say quitting my full-time job. I mean, yeah, like I live with my grandmother, so at the time I was really concerned about COVID. Didn't want my grandmother to be sick with it because she's quite old. She's in her 90s. So didn't want that to impact things too much. So decided to go full-time StarCraft, working from home, casting every day since COVID. And yeah, haven't stopped since. Haven't stopped since. The only times I don't cast is like if I'm sick. Like last week, for the first time in a long time, I had to give up on casting 2 days in a row, which I haven't done in a very long time, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, oh. It felt wrong, Bobby. It felt wrong. I had to step outside like an animal. Aye. Regardless, we're getting into our openers. Hatch, gas pool, standard opener here from Demi. Likewise, across the map, Spirit also going for a Rack Expand. What we were talking about last game is the fact that, of course, we do have a Rack Expand setup here, as opposed to the more popular 2 Racks openers that we've been seeing. And Spirit is going for a 3cc before Starport, so a very economic opener here out of our Terran player. Very standard, very economic. And I'm sure Demi would be feeling really pretty comfortable about this as well. If you're unfamiliar with Demi, of course, he's the best player in all of India. His GM, of course, is on Matcherino. And he's really more known for his muta play. He's very fond of mutas in almost every single matchup. He's not really the most aggressive or cheesy player against Terran. He does have some all-ins against Protoss, don't get me wrong, but against Terran he's a lot more above the belt, if that makes sense. He's a lot more standard in his approach. So Spirit is gonna take him to task as he gets into his Banshee opener after said 3rd TC. So again, very economic. Into this Banshee play is going to be able to shut down or have a pretty strong setup against any roach-based composition, and he's going to be looking for some economic damage across the map. As Demi is getting into the swing of things, he's got an Overlord outside the natural. He's scouting with his Ling as well, getting an eye on any 3rd base. And so far, his Queen positioning is good enough to keep up with what Spirit has. Again, with the revelation of these Hellions, he knows, or Demi knows, it's not going to be a 2-1-1. He is slowly crossing off the potential builds that Spirit could be up to. As really it's on Demi to deflect these Hellions, deflect the Banshees, and saturate his 3rd. As again, Spirit just testing the waters, takes down a tumor. Nothing too major. Again, because it's a 3cc opener, Spirit, he's not really going to be looking to dive in. Even if he sees an opportunity, it sometimes isn't really worth it, just because Spirit has so little to work with back at home. He's still building up his Bioforce, so he doesn't want to throw away his Hellions. Doesn't want to lose anything too needlessly. Oh.
Game paused.
Oh. As we do end up with a bit of a pause. So we do end up with a bit of a pause. Again, it's not ideal, but it's one of those things with an online game like this. You know, we have players from all around the world that are facing off. You know, players from India, players from Poland, and sometimes latency can come into play. But just gonna be waiting to clear things up. Demi seems to be lagging a little bit, but hopefully it doesn't impact the game. And again, nothing too major has really happened. We've just been getting into our openers, no big engagements, no big skirmishes. So if there have been any latency issues, like, it hasn't influenced the game too much yet. All good, all good. Oh, and it looks like we are good to go. Soon. Soon, TM.
Game resumed.
Up. There we go. The Hellions are going to be threatening here this third base. They're going to be dragging these queens out of position as well. Meanwhile, the Banshees are getting ready to dive into that natural. Okay, it's going to be a 1-2 punch. Spirit just getting a read on where exactly the queens are, so he knows where to attack. We do have spores in position. We have a spore in every single mineral line, so detection will be available. It's just about, you know, whether or not there are going to be queens there as well. So here we go. The Banshees do dive in towards that natural. It's a tough decision here for Demi, because if he does overreact with his queens, then the Hellions will dive into one of those bases. And already 6 workers, 7 drones, 8 drones go down. And the Banshees will escape. At the same time, Hellions, they threaten a dive. Demi is keeping up, at least with the Hellions, but these Banshees, they're wreaking havoc here in the natural, getting even more kills. 10, 11 workers go down. At the same time, the Hellions do dive forward. 14 in total. And the scariest thing is that what did Spirit lose? 1 Hellion. That is an ugly thing to look at. 1 Hellion for 14 drones. Spirit just pulling Demi apart. Barely losing anything. The Banshees are low, but they're ready for even more damage. Up! Oh, finally an overextension here. Demi does take down one of those Banshees. But at this point, the damage has been done. A worthwhile trade here for Spirit. Losing 1 Banshee and 1 Hellion for 14 drones. And here comes the main push. Here comes the main bulk of Spirit's army. We have Marines, we have tanks. Stim is done. 1-1 is about to kick in. This 7-minute timing here is gonna put Demi up against the wall. Now behind this Demi, I was talking about mutas earlier and how he loves going into muta play. There's that Spire, of course, 4 said mutas. But against this push, the mutas are not going to help. We need Lings and we need Banelings, and we need them now. 9 mutas are headed across the map. Does Demi have enough to defend? He does have Baneling speed. Baneling's going to be rolling on forward as well. Decent connections. But the tanks, they keep on pushing forward. Meanwhile, across the map, the mutas, they do nothing. The mutas, they come back home. Demi gonna try to roll on forward, but again, the tank shots, the target firing, every single Baneling goes down. And this push cannot be stopped. GG gets called. Spirit takes down Demi and is once again our King of the Hill. GG. A really good setup from Spirit to just cripple the economy of Demi and punish Demi as well for rushing into mutas. Muta play can work in this matchup. It can work in ZBT, but it's typically a really greedy thing to do. If you're investing into mutas, I mean, that's a lot of gas, and that's gas that you're not spending on upgrades like 1-1. That's gas you're not spending on your Banelings as well. You have that much less on the ground to defend. And to be fair, Demi was stumbling into the mid game because of all the workers that he had lost. So yeah, mutas were not the best call there. It was a bit of a Hail Mary play. I think Demi was thinking because he had lost so much, he had to do some counter damage, and mutas can potentially bring you back into the game by killing SCVs. But as the mutas moved out, the army moved in, and not just that, but Spirit had plenty at home to deflect those mutas as well. So really solid play out of our Terran player. Really solid performance, and Spirit will be advancing on to the final best of 1 to the final game. Oh boy, the final chance for someone to stop Spirit. Spirit now with 7 wins under his belt. We have 1 game left, and we have our challenger. It is going to be another revived player. It's going to be another Protoss. Here we go. It's going to be the Ukrainian Protoss player. It is going to be NightPhoenix. Oh boy, the pressure is on. The pressure is on NightPhoenix. Can it be done? Can Spirit be stopped? If even ByuN couldn't stop him, who can? Who can? Let's see. We're here to find out. We are here to find out. As the players are just getting things ready. As a reminder as well, the way that this format works is that the challenger does pick the map, but it isn't that they can pick any map. The king of the hill is able to veto one. One veto is available for Spirit, and then from there, the rest of the map pool is fair game for the challenger. What kind of map are we going to be seeing here? Tonight, we haven't seen Radhasit Station. Have we seen Solaris? I don't think we've seen Solaris yet either. What are the other new maps? Let's have a look. We haven't seen Equilibrium. There's so many. There's so many new maps in the map pool. It's so hard to keep track of them. Equilibrium, Golden Aura as well. Golden Aura. I think those are the ones we haven't seen yet. Not saying that we will, but it would be nice. It would be nice. Would be nice. So we are getting ready here for our final game. And as we get ready for it, I guess I can take this moment. I can take this opportunity here to potentially have a look at something. Actually, hold on. Can I? Yeah. I don't have the best setup for this. Okay, we can make this work. We can make this work. All right. So while we wait for our players to prepare and get their match ready, there is something that we have to go over. There is something very quick that we have to go over as well. OSC King of the Hill is an event that has been running for many years at this point. Many years. I mean, hey, we're up to 150. There's been 150 weeks of OSC King of the Hill. That's a lot of weeks. And it isn't just OSC King of the Hill, but there is also OSC itself, which has been running for almost the beginning of, I think, Heart of the Swarm, if not even before that. For a very long time, OSC, they've been running events like this, like other online weekly tournaments, and major online events as well, like the OSC annual playoffs. OSC, they're partnered with a bunch of online tournaments, and they provide OSC points, which players accumulate over the course of the year. And then they have like an end of year finals, which bring everyone together. It's kind of like IEM Katowice, but for online tournaments. It's like the World Finals, but for online tournaments, basically. That's what OSC is. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, as we switch our scenes, reason why I bring this up is because if you want to help support OSC, you can do so. As I try to bring this up here, you can do so with my cause. Basically, this is kind of like Kickstarter. Basically, OSC King of the Hill, they have an annual championship at the end of the year. We've been hosting this for many years, and we can actually have a look at the previous champions as Pig, Gumiho, Solar, Neeb. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen Neeb. I love that their portraits of Max Packs is like the Danish flag. You can see there for last year's champion. Last year's champion for 2022 was Max Packs. Before that was Zest, Clem, Cure. So every year OSC, they have an end of year championship. And I did want to quickly give them a plug because they do have a My Cause, so you can help support OSC if you wish. You don't have to by any means. By no means do you have to pledge, but if you wish, you can do so. The link is in the chat where you can help fund and help support this tournament. We may end up casting some of it, but usually this event is casted by Wardy, if I'm not mistaken. So Wardy, he's going to be covering it, and I'm sure he's going to be shouting out the My Cause himself as well. But if you're interested, if you want to support the tournament, if you want to support StarCraft, it's available for you as well. I know that there have been a lot of like crowdfunding initiatives for StarCraft. It is very grassroots at this point, right? There's, you know, KSL, for example. There's our tournaments like Sparkling Tuna Cup and Grand Platypus Open. GSL, even GSL has a Patreon, which is crazy, but you know, that is kind of the current era of StarCraft that we're in, where, like, you know, a lot of the community and a lot of the people, a lot of the viewers are taking part in helping keep StarCraft alive. Not just keep it alive, but just keep supporting it and keep it going. And yeah, it's been really cool. It's been really cool to see the community step up in so many different ways, whether it's with GSL or KSL or some of these other events. It has been really cool to see. Even Home Story Cup, like almost every Home Story Cup, I think they have their own like stretch goals and pledges and all this stuff that help keeps Home Story Cup going. So it's been really cool to see. And likewise, OSC is no different, as they do have their own My Cause as well. The event will go on regardless, you know, whether they raise money or not on My Cause, the event will still go on. But you know, it's there if you want to help out. If you do wish to help out, it's available for you. It's available for that end of year championship. But yeah, shout out to Pig. Back in the day, back when Pig was like the representative for the Oceanic region. A lot of people may not know this because it's crazy. It's been so many years. It doesn't even feel like that long. I remember watching Pig in WCS. I remember watching him in WCS. Fun fact, he used to have like a little pig plushie that he would bring with him, and he would have it like next to his keyboard on cam. Good stuff. back in the day, back when he was the best in Australia. This was like before Probe, and before this was just before Petraeus. If you guys remember Petraeus and Aegis, they kind of rose up in Heart of the Swarm in like 2014, 2015. It was before Petraeus and before Aegis, and it was after Moonglade. For those of you, for those Aussie fans in the chat, if you remember. But yeah, Pig, he was the first championship for OSC. So good stuff. Really cool to see. Really nice bit of StarCraft history is there. The good old days. But I'm looking at who else is there. It was Pig into Gumiho into Solar. I think there's Solar twice. Yeah. There's Solar with a selfie of the trophy. They do send out their trophies for OSC. It was Solar in 2015 and then Solar in 2018. I think that's Solar in his Splice jersey. God, I think back in 2015 Solar was still on Samsung Galaxy Con. Go by ByuN, Neeb, Cure, Clem, Zest. There's Zest, yo. Waiting for Zest to come back from the military. Damn. But yeah, so again, if you wish to support, it is there, available. 'Tis available for you. As we are just getting ready for our next game. NightPhoenix is here. He was just waiting in a different region. So it's all good. He's coming. We will have our game. We won't have a replacement. All good. As we prepare for our final game. Our final game of the night. And again, if you aren't satiated, and if after this you still want some more StarCraft, then ESL Open Cup Europe is going to be beginning soon, TM, in 43 minutes. In 43 minutes time, ESL Open Cup Europe will begin. And that's where Wardy, Zombie Grub, Steadfast, to name a few, Chicken Man as well at times, and some other English casters, some other language casters as well are going to be covering that event. So they got you covered. As we are getting into our next game. And here we go. This is where it all ends. This is where it all comes to a head. And then I get to get some sleep. For those wondering, it's 2 a.m. 2 a.m. here in Australia. 2 a.m. Vámonos. And here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of a site Delta, we have the challenger. We have the would-be usurper, the revived player, as he is here with a second chance, a second life from Ukraine, representing hot-headed gaming. It is NightPhoenix. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the current King of the Hill with 7 wins under his belt, equivalent to that of ByuN, by the way. ByuN also had 7 wins. Can he claim his 8th? Representing Sidestorm Gaming, it is Spirit. Here we go. Oh, we're getting all the time zones. Let's go. 11 a.m. in Canada. We have 5 p.m. in Germany. Let's go. Very international chat. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Good to see you all. Good to see you. Oh, so we get into our final game. Again, looking to be a Rax Expand setup here from Spirit. Very economic. It's kind of what we've been seeing a lot of from our Polish Protoss player. Probe is going to be dipping on in, getting eyes on this, confirming, of course, as well. Ooh, NightPhoenix, papi. As NightPhoenix is going for a gate expand, something you don't see too often in this matchup. Usually we see a gate cyber expand, something that's a little bit safer. But no, NightPhoenix is cutting some corners, going for a slightly faster Nexus. As he does confirm and does delay the CC for a moment. Again, Spirit is going for an economic opener, and NightPhoenix wants to try to beat him at his own game and beat him at his own greed. So again, a slight variation here from NightPhoenix, and yeah, you know, sometimes that's all it takes here in StarCraft. You know, these minor details can sometimes make the biggest of differences in a game like this. Meanwhile, what's interesting is that Spirit didn't go for an SCV Scout, so no SCV Scout. He also went for a Marine first instead of a Reaper, so no Reaper Scout either. Spirit is going to be playing in the dark, so he is unawares as to what his NightPhoenix is up to for the time being. For now, though, for now. Sure, momentarily you may even get into a Hellion to go for a bit of a better Scout. Ooh, as no, my apologies, we're going for a Cyclone first. Continuing Marine production. I'm getting some similar vibes here to the game that we saw between Spirit and Gerald, if you remember, on Hecate? I remember. Yeah, where he ended up pushing out across the map with 2 Cyclones, a couple of Marines, and even a medevac as well. So I wonder if Spirit's going to be working towards another similar push. Meanwhile, the first Adept gets across the map again. It was a Stargate opener from NightPhoenix. Phoenix production has commenced. NightPhoenix, of course, true to his name, it is nighttime, and we are making Phoenixes. Let's go. And so far, it looks like, yes, Spirit is going for the same push. This is the push that killed Gerald earlier today. Ooh, an Adept already gets caught out. An Adept will go down. Again, we're working on a second Cyclone and that medevac. We're going to be going across the map with a bit of everything. And NightPhoenix, will he have enough to defend? Phoenix is moving out. We have a second Phoenix on the way. We have a Robo in production as well. Phoenix is coming in for a bit of a scout, and oh, did he barely catch a glimpse of that drop? I'm uncertain if he did. Nah, okay, he did. Yeah, he is getting in position. Shield battery gets thrown down in the natural. The army is waiting here in the main. Meanwhile, we do catch the Phoenix for a moment, getting a couple of hits in. Again, NightPhoenix just confirming the push. He's getting in position. As here we go, Spirit pushes on forward. The Phoenixes have arrived. They focus down the medevac. They try to. The boys, they have to be pulled. Medevac will go down, but not before taking down 7 probes. And this is getting out of control. The target firing. The Stalkers go down. And what else is left? Workers. We have the overcharge keeping the probes alive. We have 1 Stalker on the way. Oh god. And it looks like NightPhoenix barely holds on, but loses 9 probes in the process. Not just 9 probes, 9 workers, 2 Phoenixes, 3 Stalkers, and an Adept. That was a tight hold. Again, really good target firing out of Spirit, focusing down focusing down and getting lock-ons on the stalkers instead of the workers. And NightPhoenix has some recovering to do. Bearing in mind that this wasn't an all-in. Behind this, we have 2 more Raxes being thrown down. Tank production has commenced. We have a couple of Vikings as well, which will help against those Phoenixes. Spirit is setting up. He's going to be taking a more defensive position now. You know, NightPhoenix does have map control, and with this map control, he's going to be able to have a little bit of breathing room to be able to rebuild his economy and take a faster third. But from the opener, I would say that Spirit has an economic lead. He's ahead economically, and it's on NightPhoenix to try to come back, try to equalize in some way. He's sharking around with those Phoenixes. Third base is thrown down. Not just a third, we are also working towards a robotics bay. The bay is on the way. We are commencing Colossus production. Phoenix Colossi from NightPhoenix did go for a safety immortal as well, just to make sure he had some units to defend. And Spirit shouldn't be moving out anytime soon. He shouldn't be moving out until Stim finishes. For now though, never mind. I have to eat my words because he is moving out. The upgrades are still on the way, but this is very ByuN-esque. ByuN loves to do this, where he kind of postures and he fakes out or even commits to a push, and he waits for those upgrades to kick in across the map. Yes, Spirit being hyper aggressive here. Oh my god. NightPhoenix, he's gonna have maybe 1 Colossus to defend. The first Colossus will come out in a couple of seconds. Shield battery is going to be ready. No overcharge at the third. Oh boy, here we go. Stim is about to finish up. Colossus has arrived. We do manage to pick up one of those tanks, but there are so many Marines. Too much bio on the ground. It's not about the tanks. GG gets called. And Spirit takes down NightPhoenix, and he will be the king of OSC King of the Hill, weekly number 150. GG. With 8 wins under his belt. Congratulations to Spirit. He surpassed ByuN, as ByuN had 7 wins. And if you remember, Spirit was the Kingslayer. He did bring down ByuN and got or claimed the rest of the prize money as his own. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations not to just Spirit, but to also ByuN as well, as they were both this week's champions. And give me a moment here as I quickly try to set that up, actually. Just so we can all have a look together. There we go. As we can all have a look together here at our Night of StarCraft. Again, exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. But here we go from the very top. And I mean, I don't know if we can really say much else here, but ByuN did go on a tear. He took down a nice DIMAGA, HonMonO, Wayne, NightPhoenix the first time, Gerald, and Ashbringer. 7 wins in a row, some big names, some big wins, before eventually falling to Spirit in a best of 1 on Oceanborn. Again, Spirit was able to take the torch, was able to claim that throne, and Spirit went on a tear. Oh, maybe I can I refresh? Huh. There we go. Spirit went on his own tear, and he won everything else. Oh, GG. GG, well played. ByuN and Spirit, our 2 Terran players. Our 2 Terran players here were able to just claim it all. But to be fair, they were the strongest players. Like, I was mentioning earlier how we have like competitors like Max Pax or Solar or Dark at times, Nightmare. There are some big names, some heavy hitters. I would say that the biggest threats to Spirit and ByuN here among this list of players was probably like Wayne. Like, Wayne had a close series against Wayne had a very close series against ByuN. Outside of that, these other players, they needed to, like, again, bring something new to the table, bring something different, try to surpass and overcome the the skill difference here between themselves and ByuN and Spirit, just because these are world-class players. Spirit, arguably top 2 Terran in Europe. ByuN, one of the best in Korea. Maybe even top 2 or top 3 there as well. I know that you got Maru, you got Cure, you got ByuN in Korea. So yeah, some big names. Big names, Bobby. Big names. Yeah, GG, well played. Congratulations to ByuN and Spirit. For those wondering as well, they claim all the money. That's how it works here in OSC King of the Hill. You only win prize money by taking maps and taking games, so Spirits and ByuN walk away with it all. But you know, that's how this competition goes. You know, that's how cutthroat it is. I'm sure next time we'll be getting some more love spread out amongst the players. I'm sure. Fingers crossed. Regardless, I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. I hope everyone had a great time. Everyone had a great time. GG, well played. If you're interested, this is a weekly tournament. It's in the name, so I guess it speaks for itself. But OSC King of the Hill Weekly is a weekly tournament. We don't cast it every week. Usually we only cast it if Wardy isn't available. I think Wardy has priority, and he usually does cover this event. So you can check it out over on his channel. But if it isn't being covered by Wardy, it's being covered here on the CranKy Ducklings. So we got you covered otherwise. And yeah, if you enjoyed the casting, if you enjoyed the broadcast, here on the CranKy Ducklings, we are live on a daily basis. Every single day we have some form of StarCraft, whether it's OSC King of the Hill, the ESL Open Cups, our own tournaments, World Team League, Kung Fu Cup, just to name a few. So yeah, if you're interested, hit that follow button. Follow us on Twitch. You can follow us on all the social medias. !socials. !socials in the chat if you are interested in following us elsewhere. We have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have a Discord server, we have a YouTube channel where we upload on a daily basis plenty of content over on our YouTube. And if you want to support us even further, Patreon. We do have a Patreon page just there under the name of NightPhoenix. Of course, we did get into it. We did get into details with it earlier, but there's also that My Cause that we mentioned. If you want to support OSC, if you want to support the StarCraft tournament circuit, then we do have a My Cause available for the OSC playoffs for the championships at the end of the year. So you can support OSC over there. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. If you want some more StarCraft action, ESL Open Cup Europe starts up in 30 minutes, half an hour. So you have... I was like, my green screen is not quite working. You have half an hour to stretch your roaches, hydrate your hydras, cook your colossus, tuck in your tempest, massage your marines, and get ready for some more StarCraft action in half an hour. So take care, everyone. Take care. If you can't wait that long, stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Not too sure who. Going to be checking the StarCraft directory, and we'll be giving someone else some love and support. Give them a chance. Typically, we try to raid some smaller streamers, and we got options. We have Mr. Sadsack. We have Colossal Gulp. Senor Colossi in the chat. They're good friends. They're good supporters of the CranKy Duckling. Who do I go for? We'll figure it out. So yeah, again, half an hour for some ESL Open Cup Asia. Follow us all over the place. We're gonna be live. Our next, again, if you're interested in more CranKy Duckling content, we're gonna be live in a couple of hours. Let me just double check. We're gonna be live in 8 hours. In 8 hours time with ESL Open Cup Americas. We don't cover the European version of the ESL Open Cups just because I would like to sleep. It's almost 3 a.m. I would like sleep. It's good. It's good for you. So usually I'm asleep for ESL Open Cup EU, but for Americas, we're there. We're there for you if you are interested, if you want some more CranKy Duckling content. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for your support. We'll see you guys tomorrow or in 8 hours for ESL Open Cup Americas. See you then. Bye.